Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tales from the Backlog, a gaming deep dive podcast. I'm your host, as always, Dave Jackson, he, him.
And I'm IdolismJ, he, him.
And today we will be covering Drakengard. But before we get into that, a few quick things. If you're worried about spoilers, the spoiler policy is the same as always. We're not going to spoil the story, the endings of Drakengard. For a while, there are quite a few endings, and some wild shit happens in most of them. And we're going to save that for the spoiler section. Per usual, check down in the show notes for a timestamp for when spoilers begin. Until that point, you're safe. And if you like the show, please consider supporting it however you can. You can do so monetarily at patreon.com/realdavejackson. You can also do it a lot of free ways, though, like if you're on the podcast apps, leave a rating and review. If you're here on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like, comment, all that jazz. And sharing with friends is great, too. Word of mouth is undefeated. So, with that being said, as you heard at the top of the show, I got a new guest with me today. It is IdolismJ. If you don't know him, he is the host of the IdolismJ YouTube channel and I forgot I wrote this, a dragon riding edgelord. Jay, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you for describing me as such. You know, I loved riding dragons and I got a lust for something, but who's to say what is?
Yes, exactly. It's great to have you here. I remember I picked this game up as I had this on my list of games to play sometime in the future, and I saw you put this in one of your year-end wrap-up videos, probably a couple years ago now.
It was 2 wrap-up videos ago, yes.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, if I ever play Drakengard, I know one person I could possibly ask. So here we are. Thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on. I'm very happy to be here.
Of course. So that game that we're talking about today, of course, is Drakengard. It's an action RPG developed by Cavia and published by Square Enix for the PS2 in 2003. And we have some quick credits for the top of the show. The director of the game was Yoko Taro. Producers Takamasa Shiba and Takuya Iwasaki. Designers Akira Yasui and Hiroaki Kotake. Writers Yoko Taro and Sawako Natori. Not just Yoko Taro. In fact, we may talk about this a little bit later. We had another writer, Sawako Natori. Artist Kimihiko Fujisaka, and the composers of a soundtrack I'm very excited to talk about, Nobuyushi Sano and Takayuki Aihara. So, with those quick credits out of the way, of course, there are many other people that worked on the game. We have our quick pitches. If people don't know what Drakengard is, I say Drakengard is a video game to lose your mind to. Jay, what would you say?
I would say Drakengard is a masterpiece. Do not mistake that as it being a 10 out of 10 game.
They are not the same thing.
They
Absolutely.
are mutually exclusive.
So let's see. So this is a PS2 game. I played this emulated on PC. I don't have a PS2. It took me 17 hours to get endings A through D, which I did myself. And then I watched ending E on YouTube. How about you?
I do have a physical copy of this, and I did play it on my PlayStation 2. I got endings A through D myself as well. I put in much more than 17 hours. I got within 20 seconds of getting ending E. And anyone who knows what ending E details knows why it's exactly 20 seconds within getting ending E. I didn't get ending E. I also watched it on YouTube.
Fair enough. Yeah. I having seen it, I can understand why someone may get that close and not get all the way there. It looks insane.
There's a certain amount of like podcasting as a service for this game, along with any sort of like contenting as a service for this game. So like a lot of people are going to be waiting to be on the other side of the spoiler wall.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into our histories per usual with this game, with the Drakengard series, and then, of course, this connects to the Nier series. So, Jay, you had this in one of your videos long before I got around to playing it. What made you want to play Drakengard? Have you played the other games? Have you played the Nier games?
So I first played Nier Automata when my girlfriend at the time bought it and was playing it. I played through that. I thought it was excellent. I've probably cooled a little on it since, but it's still primarily excellent. I was familiar with Nier around that time already. Around this time, my roommate, she was Drakengard 3 fan, ? She was banging her head against the final ending of Drakengard 3 for a long time.
Noticing a pattern here.
There's Drakengard 3 and Drakengard 1. They're very similar in a very certain respect. But I never got around to any of those. But I think probably around the same time, my friend Richard bought me a copy of Drakengard because the Rite Aid near us, which is like a corner store pharmacy, they were closing down, and for some reason they had like some PS2 games still in stock. So I think he bought it for like $3. He's like, hey, here's a copy of Drakengard. I was like, oh hell yeah. So it's been like gathering dust for a while. I finally played it probably a year and a half, 2 years ago now.
Okay, cool. So for me, I had never heard of either Drakengard or Nier, the series, the games, nothing before I played Nier Automata. When I got a PS4, that was in 2019 or so, 2018, something like that. As I said on the Nier Automata episode of this show, I just kind of, when I got that PS4, I was so much less plugged into video games than I am now. I literally just Googled top 10 PS4 games lists and just started buying those. And Nier Automata was on those lists. So I bought it, loved it. I've since played the remake of Nier, Nier Replicant. There's a podcast about that too. So we got Automata, we've got Nier Replicant on the podcast archive if people want to go find those episodes. And then after playing the Nier games, I got interested in Drakengard because that's what's left to play. If you like what Yoko Taro's doing, then you may want to check out the other games. So I had heard about Drakengard's reputation and its dead dove potential, as I've been saying on the show, where everyone says it's bad to play, and I'm kind of expecting it to be bad, but I will not be dissuaded. If I am interested, I'm gonna have to check it out. So that's really what it is. I had to see for myself. I had to open up that bag that says dead dove inside and see what was in there. So Drakengard, opening kind of thoughts here. The first thing that I want to say is that all the reports that I've heard out there about Drakengard being unplayably bad are pretty overstated. This game is not unplayable. It's just not a good action game. It doesn't really hold a candle to the games that it looks like the Dynasty Warriors series and things like that. But it's not unplayable. It's just not great. And if you played the original Nier, then you're probably used to that. That's kind of how I feel about the original Nier game. So it does kind of suck, but it's not like unplayable. Oh my God, I can't get through this. It's just it's boring to play. What I do think is really cool is the kind of thesis of Drakengard, which is kind of shining a light on video game protagonists that kill thousands or tens of thousands of people throughout the course of a story. They're supposed to be a hero. They're supposed to come out of this and be okay. And Drakengard is basically saying there's no fucking way they're going to be okay. And my big takeaway is that I think this is a really cool thing to build the game around. The execution of it is super fucking messy in this game, but I really I like the game. I like Drakengard. I like what it's doing. It's messy in the different ways that it attempts to tie into this kind of thesis. So to kind of sum up at the top of the show and get your thoughts, very rough to play, not unplayable, but rough. Fascinating to think about, and I think it's going to be fun to talk about. So glad I played Drakengard. I'm also glad that Drakengard is over. I don't know. How are you feeling coming in at the top of the show here?
Yeah, most of the same thing. I think the one big thing we both agree on is that people love to tell you that this game is bordering on unplayable, and I think they are just flat wrong. Yeah. Reports of reports of my demise are greatly exaggerated.
Yes.
when it comes to Drakengard. This is a game that is a mess. That's it. I think that's the big thing with Drakengard is that it just had a troubled development, and there was a team that had a bunch of ideas, and they said, to hell with it. We don't have enough to really make a great game. We're just going to put all of our ideas into one basket, and they created what is probably the video game version of the Berserk manga. I think that's like the closest one-to-one call you can make about this game is hey, are you familiar with the manga Berserk? Genre defining art that it is. Congratulations, you're probably 70+% of the way to understanding what Drakengard's doing.
That's a good call. I hadn't thought of Berserk because I only read a couple of the volumes, but I did like it. I do see what you mean. This they're both extremely bleak and pretty like they go into some pretty messed up places. Even with the very little Berserk that I did read, I can see that comparison there too. And yeah, the protagonist of Berserk, notably also not okay with what's going on around him. So
Yeah, very much a game where things are not okay. Like,
yeah,
that's the whole point. Things are not okay. This is not an okay world, and these are not okay people.
right. And debatable whether this is an okay game, but both of us have already said, objectively not okay. Both of us have already said we like this. We like what it's doing here. So we got a lot of cool stuff to dig into ahead of us. So let's take that first music break. We'll come back. We'll set up the story and kind of talk about, revisit that theme of what happens to your character when they kill tens of thousands of people. So in Drakengard, you play as a warrior named Caim. Caim is in this really long war where an invading empire is trying to kill his sister. His sister's name is Furii. Really weird name. You'll hear it a bunch of times throughout the game as people just scream it in bad moments. Furii is the goddess of the seal. She's basically a living seal that protects the world from falling into chaos. So you got to protect her. The Empire wants to kill her because they want bad things to happen. During the opening chapter that kind of kicks off the events of this game, Caim is in these battles against the Empire. He gets mortally wounded and comes across a dragon that is also mortally wounded. Caim and the dragon enter into a pact where they kind of tie their souls together in a sort of way which heals both of them, gives Caim kind of super soldier powers at the expense of his voice. Every pact comes with a price. And notable for this, Caim's parents were killed by a dragon. So he doesn't, I guess he doesn't like dragons. And also notable, the dragon fucking hates humans, but they both do kind of what they have to do to keep living. So we get this story set up where Caim and the dragon go through various battles against the Empire and then eventually a kind of different evil force to try and save Furii, stop the world from ending and descending into chaos, basically. So I think the thing that I'll say about the story before we get into its like big ideas is that kind of no matter what your mission is, you succeed by killing in a bunch of guys, but you don't succeed in what the goal of the mission was very often. And so the game's story goes loss to loss to loss to big loss to loss to loss to loss. And all the while, Caim is kind of going insane with bloodlust and the losing all of these battles and things like that. And this is the big idea, right? Caim is killing so many people, but not really accomplishing anything. And he just goes nuts very quickly, too. This isn't like a late game spoiler or something. He goes insane pretty quickly. So that's kind of what Drakengard's doing here.
I'll actually interject and say, Dave,
Yeah,
I think he starts insane.
that's
I don't
probably
think he
true.
becomes
Yeah.
insane. I think he's already, you said he might have super soldier powers from his pact with the dragon. I think it's debatable that he starts that way before the pact even happens.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
fair.
he's already insane and bloodlusting and kind of powerful before the pact. It's not
Yeah.
it's not like said out loud, but I think you can see that as well. Like, it's very possible to read that the bloodlust does not happen to him. He is already bloodlust. And there's a reason why we're not sure.
Right. The couple reasons why we're not sure. Number one, Caim can talk at the beginning of the game, but doesn't say a ton at the beginning. And then after this point, when he makes the pact with the dragon, Caim doesn't talk. not only does he not talk, he doesn't have an internal monologue, so you just have no idea what's going on in his brain, other than Drakengard during cutscenes will kind of there's different kinds of cutscenes. There's like the pre-rendered ones, but there's also like the in-engine cutscenes where they'll have like a character portrait down in the corner, and they'll make very exaggerated facial expressions, and that's your window into what Caim's thinking.
That man's putting the emotion engine to work.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So kind of revisiting that big idea of Drakengard here. So Caim is he goes nuts at some point with this bloodlust, and couple that with the kind of failure after failure after failure as just things continually get worse and worse and worse and worse. And this is what Drakengard is kind of exploring, like what happens to your hero while these things are going on. And you can look at this in a bunch of different ways, like as they continue to fail and not really turn the tides of this war, see people die around them all the time, and while they kill tens of thousands of people on the battlefield, which you'll just spend a bunch of time going through really repetitive missions, mowing down hundreds, sometimes thousands of people in one mission. And this game is just like, no, this dude's not going to be okay through this. How do you feel the kind of execution of this exploration is?
I think it is about as pitch perfect as possible.
Okay.
I think the decision to have Caim be mute for the entire game is flawless because it opens up so much of the game around him kind of asking what's going on, and you never really know what Caim's deal is. You just kind of have to infer and guess and wonder, how is this affecting him? Because there is no concrete answer. The answer could actually be, this is not affecting him at all.
The answer could be he started this way, for sure. You know, I do remember in that cutscene where you make the pact with the dragon, someone says to him something to the effect of, like, you can't live on hate alone. So, like, Caim's not okay at the beginning of the game.
He's like,
sure.
Bitch, watch me.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I disagree with you there about the voice. I would have really loved, like, the fact that he doesn't talk is fine. I would have loved an internal monologue at the very least. Like, for me, I kind of need to hear what's going on in his head. And like, I don't need it to understand what the game is doing, and I don't need it to follow like the progression, but the way that they choose to give it to you is through other characters saying things to Caim, like you know, like I said, like, Caim, do you enjoy anything other than killing? Or like, Caim, there's more to life than bloodshed and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, I guess so, but like, everyone's part of this war. Like, it's not just Caim doing that stuff a little bit. I would have followed this kind of like emotional arc or like character arc with Caim a lot better if I could at least hear what he's thinking. Even if what he's thinking is fucking insane, I would have liked a little bit more of a window.
I get that. I think the point is that there might not be a character there.
Just empty inside.
I think a very possible and logical read on Caim is that you get 20 minutes where he talks, and then after that you have to kind of guess what his deal is, and he might already be a soulless husk, like murder machine, before you even know anything about him, and it just continues. Like, there's no, like, people ask him things and he has no way to confirm or deny or expound on things, so you are just left with kind of inferring off of nothing, off of breadcrumbs and actions, and his actions are non-existent other than ceaseless slaughter.
Yeah.
And he doesn't emote about ceaseless slaughter. You just have to like look at him and read it. And there will be times where like you can maybe infer some things about Caim, but his thoughts on any given matter are left not only to your discretion, but to the discretion of all the characters around him, kind of talking for him or trying to talk in his place.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. And there are scenes where like let's say like Caim is standing in front of a character who seems to be a little helpless, and then he'll all of a sudden point his sword at their throat or something like that. And you're like, oh, okay, that's what Caim's thinking right now. Like there really isn't any rational thought going on in there. Like I think you can tell that. I would have just liked a little bit more of a window to kind of follow this as a descent into madness or a descent further into madness. Instead, you kind of get like, he doesn't appear to me to be much more crazy at the end of the game than he was at the start, other than a few things that happen in some cutscenes. But like that, given the opportunity, I'm not sure he wouldn't have done the same things at the beginning of the game. So I was like, what a little bit of a window, like I said. But I can definitely see where you're like, well, I'm not getting much from Caim. Neither are the people who are like depending on him to like do stuff, or their life is in his hands and stuff like that. Everyone's just kind of looking around like, yeah, I don't know what's up with this guy, but like, I guess we got to keep following him.
We'll be more alive near him than against him.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah. So the other thing about Drakengard that I kind of said, like makes some things unclear is like, I had a kind of a hard time following like what's actually happening in the story in Drakengard. You always get your like mission goals, and then things very rarely play out in a way where it's like, okay, the mission's over. Let's watch a cutscene for like what's going on in the plot of Drakengard. It's often like, I'm going to run this mission. We're going to kill whatever's in the mission. We'll get to the end. We'll do something successful or we'll fail. And then it's on to the next mission. Like it's kind of like, we need to go to this place to save this. Oh, well, right before you got there, that place is fucked. Let's go to this other place, try and save that place. Oh, before we got there, like, yeah, they fucked that place up too. And you're just kind of following along. There's like plot details that I watched Grimbeard's big breakdown of Drakengard today. And there's a bunch of plot details where I was like, I did not catch that was happening in here. And I think it's because a lot of stuff happens like off screen while you're just in the field of battle. And Yoko Taro games do this shit all the time where it's like, they'll have characters talking, telling you plot events or like trying to do characterization while you're fighting 100 guys at the same time.
Asking your thoughts on incest.
Yeah. There's a lot going on, and it's like, can you wait until I'm running from place to place and not actively in combat to give me this stuff? I don't know about you. I had a hard time following like some details. So like sometimes a character would show up and I'd be like, I don't know who this is, or like, why are they like this?
Yeah. There's a lot of details that I think are purposely missing or have to be inferred. Because I've also seen some videos where people are like, Vertili's deal is this, Leonard's deal is this. And I'm like, I don't remember that being said out loud.
Right.
I can understand how you could infer that though.
Mm-hmm.
Because the story here is a little Jeremy Bear Me for anyone who's a Good Place fan. It is not linear. I don't think it is linear.
Like
we know it's not linear,
yeah.
but like the story is weird. Let's put it that way. We could talk more later, but like the story is weird, and the way you go through it is not exactly sensical. And like, one second, I just got like huff my own farts for a bit, but like maybe that's the point.
Oh hell yeah.
But there's a lot to this game that can be explored away with, hey, this doesn't work. Maybe that's the point. And I'm like, there's some arguments for this game that I think that does not hold water with. But this is one where I think it might.
It's presented as if it's linear. Like if you look at the list of chapters, there's a definite chapter 1 through like 13, I think is the last one for the last ending.
Yeah.
But you don't do those chapters all in the same order. You'll have to like go back and revisit stuff from earlier chapters that like pops up. Like you unlocked this extra scene after you did chapter 7, and this extra scene's located in chapter 3. And it's like, go back and do that if you want to pursue the endings, which like there's a bunch of endings. They take place in the late chapters, but that doesn't mean they happen one after the other after the other. It's like 5 branching story paths from like 1 or 2 different points. So it is linear for a while until it's very much not so. And that makes it even harder to put together the timeline. If you just look at the way the game presents it to you, it's not super complicated. If you just like, if you were to draw a flowchart, it's not that complicated, but the way the game presents it to you, it's a little confusing, I would say.
Yeah, because when the game has you unlock something from an earlier chapter and then you go back there, it's not like that is a resetting point or a branching path in the story.
Mm-hmm.
It's not also not that, but like there's nothing that says that you, the player, are now just learning about something that happened in chapter 3.
Mm-hmm.
But it could still have all happened linearly. So you get into a real weird groove of trying to figure out the process of events, and it's like, okay, I think this all happens this way, and at the end of the day, you kind of just have to go with the flow a little.
Yep. And then where the story like noticeably branches for different endings, you'll like replay the same chapter a couple times, so you like know. It's almost like what if Caim didn't do this and chose to do this instead, types of branches. So those are a little bit easier to follow, but I personally, I'm kind of cool with just like replaying these and kind of forming a loose timeline in my head. Tales from the Backlog is not like the lore explainer podcast anyway. So my experience of playing Drakengard was mostly like, I'm going to revisit this chapter. What's going on in this chapter again? Okay, I kind of remember now. Like
we're losing again? Okay, got it.
No, I find that hard to believe. Not in this game. Now, you mentioned something there about kind of intentionality and like, is it bad on purpose type of stuff? And I think that you could apply this to several different aspects of Drakengard. Like you can apply that question and that kind of way that some people choose to view some games that are not great in certain aspects. That seems to be something that people fall back on as like, you know, I remember with the original Nier, for example, like the gameplay in that is pretty rough and boring, but some people think that's the point, and it helps to accentuate one of the themes of that game, which is kind of like wasting time doing this shit while you should be doing something else, you know, like one of those things. In Drakengard, it's with the combat, like specifically the on-foot Dynasty Warrior style, like Musou combat. It's not good. It's not very fun to play. It's not very fluid. You don't have a lot of like diversity in what you can do out there. You're just going to kind of hammer on the same combos and slap on a finishing move at the end of your combos when you feel like timing that up. You got one spell to use depending on what weapon you have equipped, stuff like that. And it gets really, 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 really repetitive. But I think that Yoko Taro lives in that tedium and like uses that kind of stuff to make a point. We already talked about in Drakengard, one of the things about the story is that your character is descending further and further and further and further into madness as you go through these really long, really repetitive missions. Like some of them are like 15 minutes, a half hour long, and there's like really nothing interesting that you're doing during that time. So this kind of begs that question again. If they could have made a better combat system, would they have? Like, I remember talking about this in the Silent Hill 3 podcast, talking about Silent Hill combat, which is like, I don't think it's good. I think they would have made a good combat system if they knew how to. It might be a happy accident in Silent Hill that you feel disempowered by it, and that kind of reinforces survival horror stuff. And I think in Drakengard, it can reinforce that, like, I'm going insane type of feeling that you might get playing this game. but is it bad on purpose? Does it need to be bad to get that same effect? What do you think about that?
This is a big take that many people have with this game, and I flat out disagree with it. I do not think this game is bad on purpose,
Yeah.
because I also just don't think this game is bad. Like, it's just, it's
Okay.
not bad enough to be bad on purpose.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
like the combat system they had is ungraceful, but if you wanted to make a bad combat system, I think you would do so much worse. This is just a like unfortunate combat system. Like, camera control doesn't work very well.
Mhm.
Dodging is cued to your camera direction instead of your player direction.
Mhm.
You don't auto snap very well. Nothing in this game is going to kick your ass more than an archer.
Yep.
But to the same note, that's the exact same problem with Dynasty Warriors, is that the only thing that's going to kick your ass is an archer. Like, this is not that far away from a Dynasty Warriors game. The issues are more tech savvy. They can't get as many people on screen. The fog of war is a little too like stringent for the battlefields. You kind of can't figure out where you need to be next. Your dash attack maybe takes, the only thing I would say is a designed issue, or like a purposefully designed demerit, is that there are times where it feels like the distance between two enemy battalions is exactly not long enough to dash between them and get a dash attack. But like everything else is serviceable. It's not bad, it's serviceable. And there's a terrible comparison, because the Dynasty Warrior games have already been out by now. We've already had 2, 3, and maybe 3 Extreme, and those games all do it way better. Obviously, they're built for that in a way that Drakengard isn't built for it. But even then, there's like a really okay, like damning with faint praise maybe, but like really okay battle system here. You
Mhm.
have like reasons to build up combos, because there are certain drops at the end of combos. You have a fuck billion weapons to find. Not all of them are
65.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can level up all the weapons to level 4, which gets you longer combo strings and longer different times for different finishers and better
Mhm.
magic. Like, most of the weapons are a little bit repetitive and or bad, but like the spells that are across those 65 weapons are all very different. There's some repeating ones, but like there's a lot of weapons that have cool and unique spells. It's just not, it dies by comparison. And I think a lot of people haven't played enough bad games to like look at Drakengard and be like, oh, it's so awful. I'm like, no, this is really not that bad. Like, I went out of, if I found a weapon I thought was cool, I would go back to the first mission and I'd grind it, because I actually don't think the combat's that bad. I was like, oh shit, throw it on first mission, go slaughter 800 people, take a evening doing this, because like it's not, there's not anywhere near enough friction for this to be a bad combat system.
I definitely agree with you on that last point. One of the things that stops this from being like unplayably bad, like one of many things, honestly, but like the biggest thing is the game's not that hard, especially the on foot sections are not that hard.
There's exactly like one hard part, and it's the corridor with the anti-magic shield guys.
Oh yeah, the dudes with the two with the big shields, and there's
the
like
big shields,
fucking 11 of them in a hallway.
Yeah, and you can't use magic on them. It's just like the game doesn't have any ideas.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of monotony, but even if you had a better combat system, then you would still be left with like not the greatest ideas and not the greatest tech and not the greatest like battlefield setups. Like, I think it's just a game that's okay. And because Yoko Taro brain genius auteur theory, no, it has to be a purposeful, like beautiful accident or beautiful masterpiece of badness. And I just think it's like an okay game that people are gassing.
I think I'm a little lower on, especially like the second half of the game, when there starts to be like harder enemy types to deal with. Like you said, the shield guys are like magic resistant enemies in general, because that just like takes away a big part of your toolkit, at least a big part of my toolkit.
Yeah, it does. It's rough.
Yeah. And then like anytime there's like more than 2 ranged things that you're fighting at the same time, that is when I'll say like it's like borderline unplayable for me. It was like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm hiding behind pillars and like taking one hit when I get a free look at something. Kind of getting out of playing the game the way I feel like it's designed to be played. But other than those like specific instances, it's not unplayably bad. It doesn't feel good to play. And again, I agree with you here that I think if they could have made like a smooth flowing combat system, like I played Dynasty Warriors 5 yesterday just to like get a quick hit of, I haven't played Dynasty Warriors in a minute. Let me play a PS2 Dynasty Warriors. And it's like, it's so much smoother and more fun than Drakengard. But the way I'll describe it is like Dynasty Warriors games to me are like the ultimate weekend rental games where like I will have a good time playing through them for like a couple hours. And then I've never come close to finishing a Dynasty Warriors game. And it's not because I don't have fun. It's just like I play them for a while and I'm like, that's neat. I got what I want out of this. And then Drakengard is like, you want to play like a slightly worse version of that for 17 hours with much less like dynamics in the fights. You want to play it with like worse encounter design. You want to play it with like enemies that like take away the most fun parts of your toolkit, like on the on foot levels when you can hop on the dragon and fly around in a bunch of them. And then the game at a certain point is like, we think you're probably doing that too much. We're going to put a bunch of enemies that will like knock you off the dragon. So like, you're not going to do the more fun part of this, at least for me. Drakengard is kind of like live in the fucking tedium of this. That's like kind of inherent, I feel like, with this type of game where you're doing the same stuff over and over and over and over and over again. And with the weekend rental game, I would just be like, okay, I've had my fun. I played, 5 missions. I'm good. Or I'm passing the controller with somebody back in the day when we used to rent these. And then Drakengard is like, no, you're not taking it back to the video store. You're doing this for 15 more hours. And it's worse than that. So like, I think it reinforces that like story stuff that I think is really, really neat. It's just not like pleasing to play really in any way, at least like the on foot stuff. We'll get to the aerial stuff, which I think is like legitimately much better than the on foot stuff. Yeah.
But I want to bring that back up because I play, I don't play like a ton of Dynasty Warriors, but I love Dynasty Warriors 3, which came out probably a year or two before this game.
Mm-hmm.
And the way you frame Dynasty Warriors as kind of like a weekend rental ass game is exactly why I don't think it's purposeful, because those games are so much wider on content through such a smaller scale. Like the way you finish a Dynasty Warriors game is, okay, here's the Woo campaign. It's 5 maps and there's 13 characters you can decide to do those 5 same exact goddamn maps with. Is Dynasty Warriors is a better playing game, but is it not just as monotonous and repetitive?
Right.
Whereas Drakengard has way more levels. They are not better levels by any means, but like there is a stronger story that is being told here that you need to get through in that Dynasty Warriors simply does not have. Dynasty Warriors, you want to turn your brain off, you want to whack some baddies. It has good game field, and you'll have a couple cutscenes that make no sense because Luge Xiong, the wind, and all sorts of like really funny, voice acting. But like those games are just distilled down to like pure game feel at a certain point, and they have very little outside of that. So when you contrast that with Drakengard, which has so many levels in service of a constantly moving story, it's just the format that causes that tedium to rise to the top, because you would be done with a Dynasty Warriors campaign ages before you're done with Caim's like blue light special to hell and back.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. Like they're similar, but they're definitely going for different things. Like I've played several Dynasty Warriors games through the years, and none of them are doing anything that approaches Drakengard as far as like trying to tell a story. So, and I do think that like repetition works with what the story of Drakengard is about. And while you're going through this, like these repetitive maps, while you're going through this, like, yeah, my combo chain got longer. It's not really more interesting as a way to attack enemies.
Yeah, my
It's
combo
just,
chain got longer, but like there's no world that those last 3 hits are gonna hit anything.
yeah, everything's either going to be dead or I'm going to be pointing way the fuck in the wrong direction by the time I get to those last attacks. So you're going through this like really repetitive thing. And before we get to the aerial combat, this is where I want to bring in the music of Drakengard, because
Hell yeah.
the music in this game, there are memes out there that I saw before I played this game where if you were to just take a track from Drakengard and listen to it outside of the context of the game, you'd be like, what the fuck is this? Like, if for people who didn't play, you've heard some of it throughout the episode so far. But
Yeah, I was gonna say that you were like, oh, let's take our first music break, and I was like, oh man, they're not fucking ready.
I can't wait to make the music break selections for this. So what's cool about this is I play a ton of RPGs. I know you play a ton of RPGs. RPG soundtracks, big generalization coming, but bear with me here. They usually strive to be like epic or catchy or melodic or emotional or heroic, like, or some mix of all of those things, like, or probably a mix of all those things throughout the soundtrack. And Drakengard is like kind of heroic and kind of epic sometimes, but it's like what they've done here is they've taken music samples from like classical, like public domain tracks, and they've like chopped them up, looped them. And so you get these long sections that like feel like they're going somewhere, and they just don't fucking go anywhere. They just repeat the same thing. Like, I mean, like the same couple seconds of music over and over and over and over again.
You just have to drop in right now, like the chapter 4 on the ground song, because that's the one everyone that's the one everyone memes, and everyone's gonna listen to it and be like, what the hell? And I'm here to tell you that song's a banger.
It's so what if I had listened to it, and what I did with like the memes and stuff, I was like, Jesus Christ. I'm glad they switched to a different composer for the Nier series, because the Nier music's like fucking beautiful. It's awesome. And then I played Drakengard and saw what the story is doing, talking about this character going through these repetitive actions, killing tens of thousands of dudes, and going insane. And the music is perfect music to go insane to as you play through these levels. Especially like the longer the level goes, the more repetitive the music is, and the more it fits with what's going on in the game in this like sicko heat check type of way. Like, this shit shouldn't have worked, but it does. Like, I think it's a perfect fit for it. And now, like, I think the songs are like pretty pleasant to listen to now. Like, I like listening and like being like, how they like chopped this one measure of this classical thing and repeated it 64 fucking times before moving on to anything that sounds slightly different. And then they'll like bring in a little flute for like one little thing, and then back to that repetition. And you just go insane as you listen to it.
I think this is one of the greatest soundtracks ever. This game would not work anywhere near as well with any other soundtrack. And it's worth bringing up that those two composers that are attached to this game, I'm scrolling up because I can't remember Japanese names off the dome. I wish I could. But Nobuyushi Sano and Takayuki Aihara, they are incredible composers. Those guys, that's one of those guys did like the Street Fighter EX soundtracks,
Okay.
which are bangers. And then if I remember correctly, Takayuki Aihara, he did Ridge Racer and Tekken 3. Like that dude is like the certified club turner upper. He knows how to make shit like that gets asses clapping.
Mm-hmm.
So like you have two unbelievably phenomenal like composers in dance music, and their objective is, okay, we're going to hell, boys and girls. What's it gonna sound like? And it's
exactly.
it's such a cool. Okay, how do I explain? I don't want to sound weird when I say this, but like the way my brain works is that there's always music playing. And if I'm having a really bad day, the music gets really loud and I can't turn it off. And sometimes it makes me feel like I'm losing it a little bit. Like sometimes at night, I'm like, I wish there was more quiet in the world. And like this soundtrack is that feeling cranked up to like 18, because if I'm having a really bad day, and I started noticing this when I was like 14, like whatever's playing in my head would skip. It would like hit a measure and then repeat. It mentally grates on me. It's always been like that ever since I think I hit puberty or something. It's just the way my brain works. And like, so for me, this soundtrack is the actual like auditory version of what insanity feels like. This is mental unwellness in like the most generous and like definitional way. This is trying to capture what must be inside Caim's brain, which is why I go back to this is Caim's internal monologue.
Okay,
like,
I love it.
This is what Caim perceives the world as, because it is a broken and shattered and chaotic and like not making sense world, and his brain only knows how to hear the world through like shattered and skipping tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like sometimes it's beautiful. There's some songs where there's a real beauty to like things not working. It's still chopped and screwed, but like there's a gentleness and serenity even when it doesn't make sense. And there's sometimes where like I think this is someone using a bow on a cello, but it sounds like a machine gun going off.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like panic inducing, and especially in like the later levels, in like the red atmosphere levels, we'll call them. Like,
yes,
I think that this game, like, it's legitimately terrifying at times. It feels like you are in hell. It feels like you are insane. It feels like you are just mentally unwell. And I can't think of another soundtrack that drives home the point as hard as this soundtrack does.
Yeah, well, usually, like, they'll do something more traditional to drive home a point, like with different, instrumentations, or, messing around with leitmotifs and stuff like that. Like
the bad guy coming, get the baritone horns, you know.
They'll do like more traditional stuff, and in Drakengard, it's just like, we're gonna take this just this repeating section of one note on a bunch of strings. And it's just going to be like that for like the next minute, and then it's going to switch to something else for a couple measures, and it's going to go right back to that, because I think that's a good way of saying it. It's something that I had like, I had thought about, but not quite in such a succinct way. But like, this is what's going on in Caim's head, is just this repeating music as he goes nuts. And you talking about the music in your head, that's how my brain works too. Like, one of the things that will keep me up at night is if I've just been too overstimulated through the day, usually through playing too many games, and I will just hear a bit of soundtrack in my head that will not shut off or will not quiet down, and I just can't go to sleep. Like, that's what's going on in the Drakengard soundtrack intentionally. And there are, like I said, points in the way that the story is delivered, the way that Caim's like character arc is delivered story-wise, that were hit a little bit less for me. But what was like a fucking plus was the way the soundtrack showed what Caim is doing, or what Caim is going through. And I'm going through it too, because Caim is stuck in this shitty ground mission for 45 minutes. I'm there too. I have killed 800 of the same soldiers in this one mission, in this combat system that's like not very fun to play. Like, it's not broken and unplayable, but I don't think it's very fun. And especially not after 45 minutes of the same mission. And the music has not changed the entire fucking time in a really, really cool and effective way. And I shared some tracks in my Discord server, and I was like, imagine playing a 45-minute long mission listening to this, and people were like, bro, what the fuck do you mean? Like, that's so terrible. And I was like, no, actually, like, it's really sick, actually. Yeah.
I was throwing my ass in a circle while this is going on.
Yeah. And now I'm like, I don't know that I would like straight up just listen to this soundtrack like in the car or something, but I fully appreciate what they're doing with this soundtrack. Like you said, very talented composers in much more traditional assignments. And then when they're like, make the player go insane as they're playing through this, they're like, all right, bet, we got this.
Yeah.
The other part of the gameplay is the aerial combat. So you spend a lot of missions on foot as Caim. You can hop on the dragon when you're doing that. But there are a ton of aerial missions too. I read that the Drakengard initial thing they were going for was a mix of Dynasty Warriors and Ace Combat, which is admirable. The dragon combat is much better than the on-ground stuff. It's sometimes you're kind of on rails, but often you're free to fly around, and the game will kind of point you toward the next group of enemies that you're supposed to go kill. So when you're flying on the dragon, you have a kind of fire button to shoot a fireball. If you hold the button down and move the cursor over enemies, it will lock onto everything you locked onto, and will shoot out a bunch of homing fireballs. You can also free aim a more powerful one that doesn't home, but you have to aim it yourself. You also get a big magic attack that is basically a screen wiping thing that charges up as you kill enemies throughout.
And notably, it blows your speakers out.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't happen on the emulator, but I can see on an old TV,
maybe
perhaps.
It's different on emulator. On a real hardware, it blows your speakers out. It's very, if anyone who knows me knows I'm a fighting game person. It's the exact same thing as the Guilty Gear Plus R Soul Super, where it's all right, let's do the super. It bass boost hits, it just blows the speakers out.
Hell yeah. I can see that because when the dragon does the magic attack, it roars really, really loud. So I can see that for sure. These on air missions just have a lot more dynamism to them. You can dodge roll left, barrel roll left and right. I guess we're using Star Fox terms.
Yeah, we're in all range mode, baby.
Yeah, we're in all range mode for a lot of the missions, and these it's funny. There's until probably the second half of the game, there's not a ton of variety in what these missions are or what you're fighting or how you have to approach them, but in contrast with when the game is we're going to give you an on-foot challenge, I tended to really hate that. But when the game is we're going to give you an in-air challenge, you can't fall on the crutch of the homing fireballs. You got to dodge and recognize attack patterns and stuff. I think this is actually pretty damn good in a weird way that I didn't expect. When the game gets hard in these missions, ending E notwithstanding for what I've seen.
Ending E is a different
it's different. It's completely different game.
Completely different game.
But when these in-air on dragon missions get difficult, especially with the boss fights that you have to do, I think it's pretty damn good.
I love the boss fights in the the dragon flight mode in this game is stellar to begin with. It controls great. I think they had a lot of ideas. The way that ground combat is we have two ideas. We have guy, we have bigger guy, and we have guy that
magic resistant guy. Yeah.
Magic resistant is too nice. If you do magic at them, they spew the green poison back at you instantly. They are anti-magic. They are anti-mage. But the first good chunk of dragon missions are a little bit rote, and that's okay. They kind of teaching you how to play the game, and then it's all right, bitch, we have ideas for the dragon stages. And I actually got caught really badly crutching on the auto fire, and there's a point where the game says no, you're gonna have to start doing these dog fights against dragons that will dodge 90% of your auto fire, and I still beat them using only the lock-on ones. I just had to bait them into dodging and then hit them with a second lock on one. And so I was oh my god, this game's so fucking difficult. Oh Jesus, I gotta work so hard. And eventually I think it was the boss at the end of ending A where it's hey, lock on just doesn't work, dude.
Yeah,
stop trying. You need to learn how to free fire these things. And then once I realized that you actually have to start doing the free fire, then it all clicked, and I was oh my god, this system rules. These are so good. There's so many great ideas for the boss fights. They have all sorts of interesting attack patterns and ways that they force you to dodge, and so many of them are the perfect challenge. I think they're really, really challenging, but the second you learn the patterns, you're I'm in there, I'm in that ass, I'm gonna get it done. It's it's night and day compared to the ground combat, which again is maybe why the ground combat feels worse, because the dragon stages are like 5 minutes, and it's a
Yeah.
tight, squeaky clean tight 5 minutes of really good shit, and then it's 45 minutes back in the slaughterhouse.
Yeah, agreed. The thing with those like really difficult bosses is they always felt at first like I just got like, half my HP wiped out by this one attack that I like could not see coming. And it felt frustrating at first. And then the more I played, the more it was like, no, actually, I know exactly how to dodge this. I just needed to like see it a bunch of times. And so it felt like either they didn't give enough reaction time or my own reaction time is cooked. And I just needed repetition. And it got into that like pretty satisfying thing where like in I would say most of the harder dragon fights, I would not really be in danger on like the time that I beat them. Like I was just like in the boss, that feeling you get in a boss fight sometimes where you're like, they can't fucking touch me. Like I have figured this out. All I need to do is hit them enough times, but like they might tag me a couple times. They're not gonna wipe me out this time. I have it. I see the matrix. And for as for as like there's like a total lack of matrix to see in the ground combat, in the in-air thing, you can really be like, I see what this is a proper boss fight, and I see what they're doing here. There were a couple things in like one of, I want to say the ending A boss fight where I was like, I don't really know how to dodge this thing, so I have to find out a different strategy to like not be near it and snipe from afar or like go halfway in or something like that. In ways that I love when I have to like think about how to approach a fight, and like the dragon combat gets into that, which kind of furthers that idea that we were talking about where like they're like, we're not going to have like kick-ass aerial dragon combat that's like super fun with a bunch of ideas, and then on the ground we're going to like purposely make it shitty. It's just like they just like didn't have as much to throw in there.
It feels like there's probably just two teams. Like whoever was designing the aerial combat stuff just knew better how to do things, and then the people who are doing the ground combat, maybe they didn't. Like, can you let people make things that aren't great? Can you let people make things that are just good, that top out at good, let people make things that they tried?
Yeah, I was gonna bring this up earlier. So like we talked about like Drakengard doesn't have to be like super fun and flowing to get across the point that it's trying to get across with the story and get you in that kind of mode where you feel like you're going insane a little bit as those ground missions drag on and the music is looping for the 600th time in the mission. And so I don't think to achieve that same effect that it has to be like really good and pleasing. I would stop short at saying that it shouldn't be good. Like I think that if they'd transported the Dynasty Warriors 5 combat into Drakengard, I don't think they would have lost much. The missions would still be repetitive as shit. They would still last way too long on the ground. The music would still be doing that thing. The story would still be the same. It's more fun to kill, a formation of 16 enemies or whatever. And I don't think that would have taken anything away from it. But it doesn't need to be that to accomplish that same effect. There's plenty of games that have, gotten their point across, their artistic vision across without being the most fun thing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's just my big thing is like there's a kind of creamy middle between these 2 points that I think more people should probably land on, which is like it works, and you don't need to explain everything about this away as some 40 level Yoko Taro masterpiece. If you think about the game a little more, I think it still would have worked if it was better. I like it would have still worked.
And I mean, we get a little bit of evidence with that with, in my opinion, the Nier Replicant remake revamped the combat system. It's much more fluid. It feels like playing Nier Automata. And I don't think the story loses anything for that because you're still doing a bunch of repetitive tasks over and over and over again. You still get that same feeling of like, I'm going back to this place for the 70th fucking time. I'm sick of this place. And I think it works just as well, even though the combat's a lot more fluid and fun. And I think you can say that with Drakengard as well. Have you played? You mentioned Drakengard 3. Did you ever play it? Like, do you know if it like plays better than this one?
I have not played Drakengard 3. My general understanding is that it plays better, but the PS3 is on fire the entire time, so the
Yeah,
frame rate is
it sounds about right.
horrendous. I've actually heard that the game is way better of like performing on like the most recent RSPC3 build, and like
That
that's
makes
a big
sense.
thing for people. Where it's like, oh my god, we can play Drakengard 3 with like a frame rate digestible by humans. Um,
And then people are going to be like, it's Yoko Taro's vision to play it with a frame rate that
exactly.
it goes against your body. Yeah.
Yoko Taro capped that bitch out at 7 frames per second. Don't deny it. So again, like I'm only saying this just to be like, don't get wrapped up in auteur theory, because Yoko Taro didn't fucking sit there and design the combat,
Right.
you know? Or maybe he did. We don't know that. There's a whole lot of people on this team making a game that was trying to do two things at once. Like, just let the game exist outside of Yoko Taro, who again I like, but like I think there's just a couple people who, when they see this game, because it is so deep and against the grain and so kind of artful, they just huff their farts a little too much and then think that that's the smell of Yoko Taro as well.
Yeah. I wouldn't doubt that he had, hands and fingers everywhere, just kind of being like, this is the type of game we're making as the director, it's kind of the director's job. Yoko Taro didn't write the majority of the story. That's something I found out today. He wrote like a general outline, and then
Mhm.
the other writer, Sawako Natori, did like the kind of the beat by beat and like dialogue writing and stuff like that, which I thought was interesting. So again,
So that's
like
where the incest came from.
that's where the mean fairies and yeah, the child soldiers and stuff like that. That's where all that came from. No, but again, it just kind of like you were saying, like you see the name that that's on the, on those other games that you like, and you're like, well, this person made every decision. It's like, no, probably not, you know.
Yoko Taro is in real danger. I say danger as if it's not already happened. Like Yoko Taro is Diet Kojima, where
Mm,
it's like the fan base around him and his works has just auteur theoried everything.
yeah.
He is those games in a way that denies anyone else who put hands on it, and also just kind of denies the game for existing under its own terms.
I can see definite like through lines through the Yoko Taro directed games that I've played, like from Drakengard to Nier Automata, and I'll play. I know he didn't direct Drakengard 2. I'm still going to play it, and I'll play Drakengard 3 and stuff like that. There are definitely like thematic through lines where you're like, I kind of get what this guy's shtick is, kind of like
Mhm.
Kojima, where you're like, this is undeniably a game that Hideo Kojima directed. But I definitely agree with you that like it's not Yoko Taro's decisions all the way down. You shouldn't take away, like, for example, we haven't talked about the art and the cutscenes and stuff. Like, he didn't make those things. Like, let other people get credit for stuff. Or, if the game fucking sucks, like, uh, let people be the ones who made a game that's not very fun to play, instead of saying like it's Yoko Taro's genius vision for the project or something like that. Like, let people make games that are kind of messy and flawed, as most of these games are, to be
Yeah,
honest.
it's just it's the artistic process. Like I don't think people who maybe don't create like don't get that. Art is never like this is something I learned. It changed my life. Is art is never finished. It's just released.
Hmm.
Like I'm an artist in my spare time, and I make videos, and I digital art and like video editing, and I've had so many moments where it's like I didn't really plan for it to work like this. It just happened that way across the process, and then
Hmm.
there's an end result, and someone looks at that end result and says, "Oh my goodness, you did this and this, right?" I'm like, "No, it was accident." Or in some cases, I wanted to do this and this, and I couldn't get those things to work, and this is what I landed on instead.
Hmm.
Like it it's when discussing art, it's a constant communication between the art and yourself, because you have to look at something and then interpret it. And
Hmm.
I think so many people's ways of interpreting something like this is to then backport all these decisions because it feels so purposeful to begin with, but that's not how things are created.
Hmm. It's a good point, and it was one of the other things I was gonna ask you about, like kind of the third part of that, like, is it bad on purpose? Does it need to be good? And then the last part of that is like, even if it's a happy accident, that it seems like the game resonated with both of us in this way that we feel like it was intended. Does it matter if it's an accident or not? Or is it just like you got this cool experience out of it, even though, you didn't really have fun fighting the guys on the ground? Is it an accident that it worked? Did it work on purpose? Does it matter which of the two of those it
Yeah.
is if it worked?
Yeah, exactly. At that point, it's, did it work?
Yeah.
Yeah, it worked. You
Yeah.
got there in the end.
Hmm. This is why I knew that the Drakengard conversation would bring up some
Yeah.
fun topics for
That's the
sure.
like that's kind of like we're not going to sit here and discuss the missions you play as. Fuck no.
No, absolutely
like,
not.
like
No.
that's what you talk about Drakengard. Like that's why it's like such a masterpiece. Is because you have to talk about it. You don't chapter 4 on the ground, man. I'm not gonna tell you shit about that, other than that's the one that's got the meme song. But like
Yeah.
that, you talk about Drakengard because there's so many angles and prickly edges to it that you kind of go searching for answers. You have to
Hmm.
like think about the game and chew on it, and you wonder what's intentional and what's not intentional. And then I think the best thing you land on is, does it matter if it was intentional or not? Because intentionality is not art. Art is interpretation. And so I think there's a lot of, and we've seen it so far in this podcast. We have differing ideas on many parts of this game. We still both love it. And it's not that you can't find the correct answer. Even if you had the developer notes and figure out what that answer is, your experience with the game is your interpretation of the game. And that's your answer.
Hmm. Totally agree with you there. And I think this is why people like Kojima and Yoko Taro get kind of elevated to that status where they start to get the credit for everything. And then when things don't go swimmingly, they get the credit of like, well, they knew that that wasn't going to be like that,
Exactly.
because
Yeah.
they make games that get you talking about stuff like nothing that I've played from either of those two gentlemen's directed games are boring. Everything is very interesting and brings up a bunch of really interesting conversation. So at a certain point, it's like, if you can get through it, if you're not totally put off by the fact that, yeah, you're going to do some really, really repetitive combat on the ground, missions are going to take forever, they have almost no interesting ideas for you to go through. If you get through that, you're going to come out the other side. You're going to watch the way the story goes, which we'll talk about in the spoiler section, and you'll be like, whoa, boy, they had a bunch of different ideas they wanted to take this story in, which is really interesting. Wanted to bring up, before we get out of like non-spoiler stuff, the way the game looks, as far as like the in-mission stuff, we've already mentioned, like, technical stuff keeps it from being like really impressive visually when you're like on the ground or even when you're in the air. It's kind of like, the only thing I thought was like really notable is the enemy designs when you're in the air, especially. You'll like see a design, you're like, what the fuck is that? Like, where did they get
Yeah.
the idea for that thing? Like,
The aerial enemies are bordering on non-Euclidean sometimes. Like
yeah.
it starts going places with the aerial enemies.
Yeah, they're very cool. The big thing I wanted to just bring up is, I know that Square didn't develop this game, but this is in the era of Square like dominating graphics, especially in RPGs with like pre-rendered cutscenes and stuff like that. And they look pretty damn good in Drakengard. And they save some very cool and very weird and out there stuff for those cutscenes that Like I was legitimately excited when like a cutscene started. I was like, oh boy, something cool is going to happen
Something's
in this
cool
thing.
happening.
Yeah.
I many of the reasons like the endings in this game
Yeah.
are just visual treats. And not just purely because they look great, but because like there's so much interesting shit happening. It's
Yeah.
really, really cool. I think this game looks fine in general.
Hmm.
Like it runs well. Like it does not really have that many like performance hiccups. It's a perfectly good running game. But man, when you get to the pre-renders, it does feel like it has a little bit of that Squeenix magic going
Yeah.
on.
Absolutely. So, we will talk about those weird and cool things that happen in those endings soon. But before we get there, was there anything else about like kind of non-spoiler thoughts, I guess, about Drakengard that you wanted to make sure we hit on before we probably lose some folks at the spoiler wall?
Uh, I guess we can talk about this now just as a setup for the endings and whatnot. But like,
Sure.
you have a team.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But there's a reason. There's a reason we're not talking about them. I think that they are like really, really non-existent outside of their little story contributions.
Yeah, some of them play parts in some of the endings, but they're not really characters. They're just like a person who had something happen, and then you go through like a couple chapters with them,
You'll
and you
never
might
guess this
never
is a
hear them
bad
again.
thing that happened to them.
Yeah, you'll never guess, but yeah, something bad happened. One thing I do like about this is like kind of in the way that this subverts some RPG stuff. Because they are like a party members that you collect, and you can bring one of them on the missions with you, and you can kind of bring them in like a summon in
Yeah,
a
like a
Final Fantasy
summon.
game. And they're in for a limited time. You have a limited number of times you can bring them in. The thing I think is cool about these characters is none of them are okay either. Like Caim is not okay, but Caim doesn't attract a group of like well-doing heroes to join him on the quest. He attracts the world's biggest fuck ups other than himself to join him.
It is the island of misfit toys
Yeah,
happening in
100%.
this game.
um, so you have one guy, Leonard, sorry, it's
It's
not
Leonard, I think,
Leonard.
because they put a T at the end there.
Yeah, this game has a thing with names. He joins your party. He's not okay. He makes a pact with a fairy who hates his fucking guts, and like
Hell yeah.
uh offered him the pact as a joke, and then seemed like surprised when he took the fairy up on it, because she was just like talking mad shit to him, like, yeah, well, you can't put that sword through your chest. Why don't you make a pact with me, you piece of shit? And he was like, all right, cool. And the fairy's like, wait, and then
Wait.
just
Fuck.
talk shit the rest of the game to him.
I guess I'm stuck with you now.
You have Ariosh.
Ariosh.
Yeah,
Ariosh. Yeah. Yeah.
Ariosh
I have
the
to remember that you say her name as if it's a type of baguette.
yeah, she is fully 100% insane when you first meet her and you welcome her into the party with open arms. The first thing she does, she has this thing where like she can't have children or something, and the first thing she does when she joins the party is like, where are we going? Do they have children there? And they're like, no. And she's like, okay. You're like,
Yeah. I think, and this is just because it's like this is in vogue at the time a little bit. I think we mentioned it when you pact with an animal. You, the human, lose something. That's why Caim doesn't speak. He loses the
right.
ability to talk. His literally his there's a seal on his there's a seal on his tongue. You see it in like
Right.
one little in-engine cutscene. And so Leonard, when he makes the pact, he loses his eyesight. I think Ariosh loses the ability to have children with her pack.
Sounds
I
right.
can't remember if that's the case, but that's very 2000s women's writing, if I'm being honest.
Mm.
So I think that's the case with her.
And then the last party member is Siri, who's a boy who makes a pact with a golem, and as a result of his pact, he will never grow old. He's got the Peter Pan thing.
Yeah,
going on.
he loses time.
Yeah.
So he's
Which that's what they say.
yeah.
And you're like, what do you mean you lost
What do you
time?
know
That's a
about
really big concept there, buddy.
That's X-Files is what talks about losing time, sir.
Yeah.
This is something different.
Calm down. This is Drakengard. Yeah, he loses the ability to grow older. Um, After he lost everyone around him, lost his sister, who's another character in the game. So those are your misfit party members. None of them are the slightest bit okay.
Yeah, we like. I mean, honestly, there's more to Leonard and there's more to Ariosh. We could probably talk about them on the other side of the spoilers, but like,
Right.
they're super not okay.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then you have the other guy. Fuck, I forgot his name. The priest guy. Verdelay.
Verdelay,
Yeah.
who won't shut the fuck up.
Yeah, he's also not okay, but not in like the just fucking out there way the other characters are. But yeah, he talks all the time, and he's supposedly like a kind of priest of the seals or something like that. He's supposed to have power within the world. He never really does anything useful throughout the game, so he's a fuck up just like the rest of them.
Yeah,
You can't play as him.
We should mention Caim doesn't talk. The dragon talks.
Yeah, the dragon talks
a lot, and
the
so
dragon
like,
hates humans.
yeah, dragon's got some beef. The dragon's awesome. Great voice acting for the dragon. Unbelievable voice acting. There's some real stanky ass PS2 voice acting in this game.
Yes.
But every once in a while is a really, really good voice actor, and the dragon is one of them.
Yeah.
So a lot of the conversations that happen in this game is Verdelai being like, "Oh, the world's ending. What do we do about this?" And the dragon's like, "Shut up, old man. I'll tell you my thoughts on incest later."
Exactly. Yeah. A couple of them do have good voice performances for sure. The dragon's probably the best one. And then you get a bunch of like, I don't know if they pulled someone from accounting in to do these voices for a
It's
couple of
accounting
these characters.
or accounting's child, because there's some
Yeah.
child voice actors.
In the I heard in the Japanese dub they have actual children, and in the English one they don't.
I wouldn't doubt it. There's also
So-
one like really, really, really infamous voice performance, and that's the people who are overtaken by the cult. Their voices get transcribed into the guy who says the bouncer, but all monotony. I don't know if it's actually him or not, but like it's that performance, but totally monotonous. So you'll have characters be like, "Glory to the Watcher, la la la
Yeah.
la 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 la. Glory
yeah.
to the Watchers, la 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 la."
It's so bad I was laughing during
It
that.
rules.
Yeah.
It rules. That's another thing where it's like, "Oh, Yoko Taro, 5D chess." No, shut the fuck up. It's just a bad voice performance.
It's just bad voice acting. Yeah. When they had the budget to get great voice actors in, they sure as hell got great voice actors in for their games. So, yeah, let's do our kind of wrap up stuff, and then we'll get into talking about spoilers and all these fucking endings in this game. So, before we get into that, maybe a bit of a loaded question with Drakengard, but we always kind of choose who do we specifically recommend play the game we're talking about, because very few times I've ever done an episode where it's like, this game fucking sucks. I don't think anyone's going to get out of it. I actually don't think I've ever said that. There's always someone who the game is going to appeal to. So Jay, who do you think should play Drakengard?
Freaks.
Yes.
If you are okay with a game that is art, and God, that sounds like such a loaded statement, but like, this is not a game to like play and relax with. This is a game to like experience as art. And I think when I say that, people are always like, when you say something like art, people think high art. This way, like when I say like fashion, people think, "Oh, high fashion, runway." It's like, no. There's a base level of understanding for those concepts. You need to bring yourself down to that base level of understanding, but then you get something really, really cool out of this. And that is why I think it's a masterpiece, is because this game is one of one. There is no, even within the same series, as far as I've played, there is nothing like Drakengard. There's no parallel or analog to this.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And The thing that I'll say, and I kind of I find myself saying this a lot, but like I'm going to give my podcast audience some credit to know this about yourself. If you're the type of person that needs really interesting and engaging gameplay that's not going to make you feel like you're doing the same thing over and over again, uh, if you need that, don't play Drakengard because it's not going to give you that. If you're a like gameplay, especially the action stuff like on the ground, like if you're like, if I'm playing a game like this, I need it to feel great, then I think that you're going to be too pissed off at what this turns into to appreciate the rest of it. But if you are like okay with that, if you're like games can give me a different emotion other than like I'm having a lot of fun right now, then I do think this is worth playing. I do think there's still like, now I'm on the other side of like the dead dove thing where I'm like, there's a dead dove in this thing. I think you should look at it. It's kind of cool, but like,
Have you ever seen a dev dove? Kind of
yeah,
wild.
yeah, kind of crazy. You should expect to be in a really long mission and be like, this fucking sucks. This needs to be over. Cause I felt that. And I'm on the other side of it being like, it sucked in the moment, and I'm not going to pretend in retrospect that it didn't suck, but there's a lot more to this than just that. So like, if you have the capacity to let a game make you feel frustrated, there's no way they didn't know that mission was too long. Like there's no fucking way. Like if you have the capacity to be like, there is a point to this, then I do think you're going to get something out of this. And I said the same thing about Nier Replicant because that game's frustrating as hell sometimes. It's monotonous, it's repetitive, it's doing something bigger. And I think you just got to know that about yourself. Like, am I cool with that or am I not cool with that? I'm cool with that. And so here I am recommending Drakengard to basically everyone who's like, yeah, I'll give it a try. So, with those recommendations out of the way, let's do our housekeeping stuff before spoilers. We always start with plugs for the guest's work. So as I said at the beginning of the show, Jay hosts a YouTube channel called IdolismJ with a bunch of different stuff, but you've got a series that you're working on that by the time people hear this will still be ongoing. You're still doing...
Forever, dude.
Yeah, this episode could come out in 2 years. That series will still be going.
If you listen to this a decade from its release date, they'll still be going on.
But yeah, it's a really cool series. I like the stuff that you do. So please tell people about your YouTube channel and the kind of videos that you make.
Yeah, I run a YouTube channel that is, I like to describe it as topic-based video essays. These are not game reviews typically.
Mm-hmm.
I try to create things with more of a like question and topic and points than is game good or bad or worth time.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of very different topics spanning from why House of the Dead 1 is such an influential light gun game and why the remake sucks complete ass, to hey man, the soundtracks in random ass Japanese porn games sure goes hard. You want to talk about that for a second?
Uh-huh.
But the big series that kind of centers a lot of my channel is the Playing Every Final Fantasy Kinda series, which is a retrospective through Final Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Kinda.
Kinda.
And it goes a couple places, and it will continue going a couple places. And this is kind of like my life's work at this point. I will probably be doing this for another 15 years, given my worksheet. But that's the hope. That's the point. I love big projects. My whole YouTube channel kind of came about because I lost my previous creative endeavor, which was event management. Lost that to the pandemic. And so I started the YouTube channel, and I have no reason to stop, nor will I. So I'll be doing this for a very long time.
Yeah. And, you know, with with the kinda added to the end of the Final Fantasy series, you open up room to just kind of do anything that's vaguely related to it. And the stuff that you have ahead of you right now is just, you know, the series explodes into spin-offs and sequels and all sorts of nonsense. And then you still have like the room to be like, I would like to play this thing that's like tangentially related to Final Fantasy and make a video about it. So
Yeah, it becomes more it is becoming more about, and not to say that this was never not this, but it is becoming more about the history of Square through the lens of Final Fantasy is probably
Okay.
a good way to like elevator pitch that's how the kinda works.
Here we go. Well, I really like the stuff that you make. It's I love to I watch those Final Fantasy kind of videos when I see that they're out pretty quickly. I really enjoy those,
Thank you.
and yeah, and then like you do other stuff like we mentioned the year end wrap ups that you do. I always enjoy those as well. So your channel's been a kind of recent over the last few years kind of find. Basically, since like Blue Sky started was when I kind of found your channel, and I really enjoy what you make. So I'm happy to invite you on the show because I know you make good stuff that like my audience is gonna like the stuff that you make. I can pretty much guarantee that.
Hell yeah.
So I will put a link to the channel down in the show description. And you also just launched a Patreon. If people
I
like the channel and
did.
they want to support what you do, they have a way to do that now, which is cool.
Thank you very
Um,
much for putting that on there as well. Yep. It's pretty
yeah,
fresh opening of the
yeah.
Patreon.
Support the people's work that you like. I mean, like I've got my own, a bunch of us have Patreons. If you like the stuff that people do, if you're able to, a few bucks is helpful. And it's honestly, it's not just the few bucks. It's like the knowledge that like someone thought it was worth it. That's like personally very fulfilling to me. So yeah, check that Patreon out if you like the channel too. So again, links down in the show notes for that stuff so you can easily find it. As the music that I choose, I'm so giddy at the prospect of choosing music
Oh,
break music for this game. We're
it's
gonna
gonna
have music
rule.
playing during the spoiler break. While that's playing, go find some videos saved to your watch later on YouTube. You'll find some good stuff in there. So I did my plugs at the top of the show. The only one I didn't say is the Discord server, which I did spam with Drakengard songs just to be like, hey, what do you think about this with no context type of stuff. The Discord server is open to the public. Anyone can join. If you feel like a community built around this show is a place that you'd like to be, we would love to have you. There's an invite link for that in the show notes as well. So, with that being said, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, it will be full spoiler time for Drakengard. All right, before we get to full spoiler time for Drakengard, I'd like to say thank you to the wonderful patrons who help support the show. A big hearty thank you and shout out goes out to Chris Nelson, Zolgeek, Chris Copleen, Rick Firestone, Nick Fakori, Soccer, Cupcake, Kyle, Christian S., Matt aka Stormageddon, JD, Doug Leaf, Jason Emery, Brian Skirsha, Jenny E., Marcus O'Neill, Stefan, Drellish, Rigamort, Silk Canet, Levi, John E., Aliasi, Aaron, Squill, Alan Kress, Doug T., Retro Overdrive, Magic Crow, Curly Bright, Ian L., Steve Yeager, Trash Dog Actual, Delaney and Jack McBride, Ethan Young, Michael Lassen, Michael Matuzak, Keith B., A Quack a Day, Jake Martin, Relentless Rex, Mike Caniff, and many more. Thank you all for your support. It means a lot to me. If anyone out there would like to join them, you can head over to patreon.com/realdavejackson. Check out the tiers, check out the rewards, and I thank you for doing that. Patreon support helps out in a lot of different ways, and it means a lot to me that you would consider it. So, with all that being said, it is time to get back to full spoilers for Drakengard. All right, we're back. It's full spoiler time for Drakengard. And the customary disclaimers at the beginning. Number one, we're not going to go through the story and talk about everything in a linear order. We're not going to talk about everything, just in general. And the other thing is there's a whole hell of a lot going on in some of these branching storylines. There's a lot of like side missions you can do. We're going to miss stuff. I'm going to probably say some stuff that's not correct. This is not the Lore Explainer podcast. It never has been. We're going to talk about some kind of general stuff that happens in the story, and then we're going to talk about the endings because they are cool and weird. So with that being said, let's get to it. So just kind of before we get to the ending stuff, we had mentioned earlier that nothing really goes right for Caim and company throughout the game. And now that we're in spoilers, we can put a little bit of like specifics to that. So not only does nothing go right, nothing ever really is like close to going right
No,
throughout
it
here.
just gets worse.
It just gets worse. And it seems like because so there's these 4 seals holding back the chaos and the evil. You're supposed to, so there's 3 seals like out in like temples or some shit. And then Furii is the last seal is how I understand.
I think
how
it's
that
either that or
works.
there's 4 seals and Furii is the 5th final
Something
seal. I
like
can't
that.
remember. It almost doesn't matter.
Yeah, right.
You know what happens? You get there and it ain't gonna work. You get there, you do 45 minutes of combat, and then the Smash Brothers announcer goes failure.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Yes.
okay, great.
Or like you're on the back of the dragon flying to one of the seals and you fight a bunch of stuff and then like Verdelay's like, oh shit, the seal's broken. When you're still in the mission going
Yeah.
to the seal.
The huge like win the battle, lose the war vibes. Like, hey, I won
constantly.
the battle, right? It's like, no, actually, someone it's fucked up. Say, hey man, fucked up world, fucked up place. You know, whatever the rest of the Limp Bizkit lyrics are. something break something.
A lot of Limp Bizkit references on the show recently, and I am here for it.
Hell yeah.
I remember one of them, it's like I think it's going to the forest where the fairies live, where there's a seal in there, and you kill a bunch of stuff, and then there's just like a scream off screen, and Verdelay is like, oh, the scream of the fairies, the seal is broken or some shit, and you're like, all right, well, I guess I'll go to the sea fortress and try that one.
Yeah.
And spoiler, none of that
Doesn't
shit works. Nope. So you you fail in all of that, and Inuart, who's like Caim's friend, we didn't mention him. He deserts the party pretty quickly.
It's important to know that like he's not a playable. He's not a summonable. He's just he's your homeboy, and he's actually, did we mention that Furii is Caim's sister?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Very important. I've only said incest like 3 times pre-wall to like maybe get you primed for something. But yeah, so like Inuart's his homie, and Inuart is betrothed to Furii. It's just like he's got the hots for it. No, that's his fiance. So he has some feelings about the fact that she's the seal.
Right. Yeah. He his first like jokerifying thing is her becoming the seal, and like kind of, well, now it's like we're not gonna have a normal life. Maybe we can't even get married. I don't know. Because now she's this goddess of the seal. And then he gets like really jealous of Caim, and he gets like seduced by this cult. Interesting note, I found out today, the cult of the Watchers, the one that like turns Inuart against everybody, that's the English localization. The Japanese one is the Church of the Angels. They changed it for religious reasons.
Nintendo. I know this is a Square Enix game, but Nintendo.
Right, a very Super Nintendo ass thing to change there.
Church of the Angels fits the game so much better.
I mean, like you mentioned with the enemy designs, them looking like non-Euclidean is the word I think you said. Mm-hmm. Biblically accurate angels fits like a lot of the enemies that you see in this game. So yeah, he gets turned against you. You have to fight him a bunch of times, so that sucks. You lose your guy. He's involved in a bunch of the endings. We'll talk about him. There is one part where you think you won the war in against the Empire, like kind of halfway through the game, and you get like one moment where like everyone's like, "Fuck, we did it. We beat the Empire," and then like they summon these giants that come and like meteors rain from the sky and just destroy the entire fucking surface of the planet or something.
Yeah, it is kind of hard to explain because so many things just happen in the game without much setup. It feels like there's a lot of times where it's like, hey, you know what's happening? It's right around the corner. It's the apocalypse, not the one you're fighting, the one we created while you weren't looking.
Yeah, different one. Yeah, different apocalypse. Like
different apocalypse. We had backups. We had spares.
I mean, the apocalypse happens like 3 times within 5 hours of playing Drakengard.
There's a certain point where it's like, hey, what are we trying to save, dude?
Yeah, exactly. Even in like ending D, I think is the one where things like get really fucking bad.
Ending D is the bad one, yeah.
Yeah, and you're like trying to save that world, and like you said, like at a certain point you're like, did we just like let this end? Like,
Yeah, we'll talk about when we get to D, but there's a point where Leonard's like, I'll distract them, you run. And I'm like, run where?
right.
Run to what, dude? Run? Like, what is your plan? There's nothing.
Look around us, man. Like,
but it's fucking like, it's blood red everywhere. What are you talking about?
So that's one thing. And then, so this is just the cavalcade of things that go wrong. And I'm skipping over a bunch of them. The last one that kind of sets off a couple of the endings is that Fury Eye, of course, you don't save her. She gets killed at a certain point.
She ain't making it.
No, at a certain, I'm surprised she made it as long as she did.
Mm-hmm.
Because she gets killed by this cult of the Watchers. And then her dying, she's like the last thing that's like holding back the apocalypse. But there's like multiple other apocalypses that can happen as a result of her dying. And there's different endings where she doesn't die. There's one where she's like resurrected. She dies, but she's resurrected, and things get worse because she's resurrected. Like,
you'll never get worse.
I was going to say, no matter what happens in Drakengard, things will get worse, except for like one of the endings, which is debatably worse or debatably better.
Yeah, debatably, there's a good ending.
Yeah. So, do you want to just talk about the endings like in order?
Yeah.
Did you have one you wanted to?
You have to talk. They are unlocked in order, so like you do have to play them in order. This isn't. And I will say, like, this is a Yoko Taro thing. If you've played his games, there are endings to them that are, in Automata, they are more relevantly canonized across them. Where like. I think there was a big thing with Automata where people were like, oh, I got ending A, I beat the game. And it's like, dude, you hit like a mid boss. Like the game continues after ending A. Like just pick that thing back up. Like that game does not have endings like that.
Yeah, in that game, they have a message after you get ending A from Square Enix PR that says like, please keep playing. And I think they had to add that in later on.
People didn't like, this is like a genre savvy thing. Cause it's like, this is taken from, man, I don't know if Yoko Taro's ever confirmed this, but this is just in the medium. Like this is from visual novels. And I think specifically the one that kicked this off was 1996. I'm going to try and get this entire name off the dome and not have to look it up. The girl who chants love at the bound of the world. I think that's the entire name, which it's like a sci-fi-ish time travel visual novel where you have different endings and it's not really understood what is a canon ending or how these all play into each other. It's just that they branch out from each other, and a lot of games start doing that. You get to like romance visual novels, ones that I have played, where it's like, okay, the game will eventually split and there's not really a canon ending. You can actually just kind of learn things from each ending and apply it back to the entire game in a sense. And so a little bit of that is happening here.
Yeah, that's kind of what I like about the Drakengard endings is like, I like all of the endings if you just like play through and you're like, we took a couple of branches and this is the place we ended at. I like all of the endings from that perspective. But what I like about them is the way that they are, the way they fit within the bigger picture is kind of like that visual novel style where it's like, if Caim follows Inuart in one scene, you go towards ending B, and if he doesn't, you go to ending A. And then like there's branches like that of like what if possibilities in the story. It just so happens that you do play them in order, and arguably they get worse as you keep getting more and more endings. Ending A, this is the one that I think you would like say is like arguably a good ending.
The good ending.
Right. Ending A is in a lot of these endings, Siri, who's the boy who made the pact with the golem, he lost his sister at a certain point, and it turns out his sister, Mana, I'm not sure how they say it, she was taken by this cult of the Watchers and corrupted because apparently she has like this power within her, and now she's like the figurehead of all of this shit. I don't fully understand it, but she's the one who kills Furii in ending A. Vert
This is so funny.
so fucking goofy. Verdelay uses he's supposed to be this priest of the seals, and he's like, Caim is about to like stab this girl with his sword and like end this, and Verdelay's like, no, don't do this, I will do this, and he like gets out his staff and tries to do this spell, and she grows.
It's funny because Verdelay says in like so many words like, finally something I will do, and it's like, yeah, fucking man, can you go back to the corner and cry again?
Yeah.
Like, you were much more effective crying in the corner.
Exactly, yeah, because what he causes is like his spell seems to work for a second, but it just causes Mana to grow to kaiju size. Like, she is like thousands of times bigger than a normal girl. She doesn't change form, she's just a giant child.
It's just
smashing
up the
everything.
scale on her. She's like 9 million towers, stories tall now.
Right. So you have a boss fight against this giant child.
A really good boss fight too. I like that boss fight a lot.
It's hard. I like this less than the ending D1, I think it is, that you do on the dragon. But I do think it's like pretty good. The part at the end with like the rings that are revolving around, that got to be a bit much. And like the time that I beat it, I wasn't really sure why.
Yeah, that one's very hard, but that's kind of why I like it, because it's like her last ditch effort is sending all of these disparate like ringlets, and you have to kind of dodge all of them, and it's very hectic. And I think it's a really cool, again, like a really cool idea for a boss, because that's where all the ideas went to, is the dragon stages. And
Right.
I think all of the endings have a final boss that's a dragon stage, if there's a final boss, because the game knows like where the bread is buttered.
4 of the 5. Ending C has the one where you fight the dragon.
That's right. No wonder I forgot that one.
It's not good, I'll tell you that much.
It's not good.
So yeah, you have this big fight where you're on the dragon fighting kaiju size little girl, and it's really tough. It's goofy as shit. It never stops being goofy that you're fighting this giant girl. And then after you beat her, she shrinks down to normal size. She begs for you to kill her, and she like kind of comes back to like being a child again, like not under the influence of this cult. And Verdelay gets up, like pushes her to the ground in a cutscene. It's very weird, and says, "No, we're not going to grant you a death and release from all of your pain. You're going to have to live in misery for the rest of your life."
Hell yeah.
And then since the seal is broken because Furii died, there needs to be a new seal. And this is why it's arguably the good ending, because we save the state of the world. The world as it is, it's not good. We're not undoing all the damage that was done, but we're at least not making it worse, because the dragon offers itself up to be the seal. And it's like, if this game were better about character development, it would be a bigger moment that like the dragon hates humans and now it's sacrificing itself to save the world of the humans. And
I actually will say I think it is that the big emotional arc of the game, because I just rewatched it today, and I've remember people being like, yeah, Caim and the dragon fuck, and I'm like, where does that come from again? But like in the cutscene, before the dragon offers herself up, she's like, I grow tired, Caim, come warm me up like you have before. It's like, oh, that line.
Oh, okay.
That line. It's like, yeah, that's where that comes from. It's like one line where it's like, oh, that's what their relationship is now. They're like bordering on like romantic help. Like, I think like come warm me up was the like come warm me, come heal me, something like that. I think warm was the word used, but like
I think so.
Very obviously, like, I am in need of your emotional, and if not emotional, physical support in this moment, Caim. And Caim does it. Like, so it's like, yeah, they fuck, but like, but like they have like a strong bonded connection now. And then she offers herself up to be the new seal.
Yeah, it's just like I see the arc that they're doing. It's just the execution of it throughout the rest of the game is pretty messy, just like a lot of the stuff in Drakengard is. And it also tells Caim its real name, which is Angelus, and says something to the effect of like, "This is the first and last time I'll tell a human my real name," because then it, disappears to be the new seal. So ending A, the good ending, the
The good
dragon
ending.
is gone, and we preserved this world that's already been through one apocalyptic event.
Yeah.
We stopped more, I guess. That's good. That's about as good as it gets in this
That's
game.
as good as it. There was a. This is the craziest statement you'll ever hear me say. I saw a good YouTube comment, where someone was like, "It's so nice that this is the first ending, because when you keep playing, maybe you will think, if I get the better endings, I can save her. I can save
Yeah.
Angelus." And it's like, oh, fuck, that is not what's happening in this
That
game.
is not even close. I kind of like this. It reminds me of the end of the Dark Tower. Did you read those? The Dark Tower books?
No, I never read the Dark Tower books.
I won't spoil
I got
it.
the others. I mean, I know. I've listened to podcasts explain every single goddamn Stephen King book. I've read many, but not those ones.
For those that aren't aware, at the end of the Dark Tower books, before you get to the real end of the story, Stephen King himself inserts a little part where he's like, "This is a nice point to jump out. Like, you might not be satisfied if you keep reading. So, like, think about it and consider putting the book down and keeping the ending that you just read, and that will be your canon ending for the Dark Tower. And if you want to read on and read what my ending is, go ahead, but beware, you might not like it as much." And that kind of reminds me of that idea of like stopping after ending A of Drakengard, or if you're like, keep playing, I want to see more of the endings, but things just get worse and worse and worse the more endings you get.
Yeah, it's very subversive having ending A be the good ending, because everything in your brain would say, well, if I work harder and I get the other endings, they will be better, right? That's what gaming has taught me. And it's just like, this is one of the things where I'm sure Yoko Taro is at the helm of this idea of like, no, bitch, welcome to the real world, motherfucker. Like, you can work as hard as you want on the rest of this game. It's never getting better than this.
Yeah. And considering that, like, especially to get ending E, you have to spend a bunch of time, collect all the weapons, which is the thing they do in the original Nier too, to like, it's like, you're going to do all this stuff to get this extra ending. And like, I won't spoil it, but like, it's not like the happy ending of everything, where it's like, I'm sure glad I put in all that time. Like, the characters are much better off for all this, So yeah, ending B, way worse than ending A. This branching path. So in ending A, Caim went to the capital to try and find mana where I guess Furii was there or something like that. In ending B, he decides to follow Inuart because they have a boss fight, and it's like a branching paths point. So after the boss fight, you follow Inuart. He's got Furii with him, and he's looking for this thing called the Seeds of Resurrection, where supposedly like the myths is really weird that like this is a myth that like no one really knows what happens, but they're not hard to find. They're just kind of there, like they're available.
They just show up.
Yeah. Anyway, the dragon's like, this is a bad idea. We got to stop him from doing this.
I'll also want to interject. I think this is the ending where it's revealed-ish that Furii has incestuous feelings for Caim.
Okay.
And that also helps break Inuart's brain.
Oh yeah. Okay. I gotcha.
It's hard to track because Inuart's brain is already fucking broken. But I think
everyone's brain is.
I think there's an additional brain break of like, oh, there's an incest going on. Again, you don't know how Caim feels about the situation. Nope. Which I'm gonna keep beating the hammer. I think that's the point. That's the beauty of him not speaking, is you don't get to know how he feels about this situation.
Now, we'll revisit that idea of Caim's lack of a voice in ending C, for sure. But in ending B, he's looking for those seeds of resurrection. He puts Furii into one of the seeds, and it does resurrect her, but the monkey's paw curls, and she becomes like a demon monster, basically. Like there's like these thorny vines and shit going all over the place. And she flies up into the air, and you have an air battle with her. Actually,
you should back up, because when he
yeah.
puts her in the Seas of Resurrection, she comes out. This is the best cutscene in the game for me. I think this is the best cutscene. Yeah, like it's like really shot really tight on both of their faces. Like he puts her in the seed, and then her face comes out, and it's like a happy face, and like he's overjoyed, and then the thorn just runs through his stomach.
Yes.
And you like it pulls out, and her face starts distorting, and like her eyes start going in separate directions, and she has these big like end of Evangelion angel wings and these almost like scorpion tail looking thorns coming out of her. It's so fucking cool. It's such a great cutscene.
It's a great cutscene, and then she flies up in the sky, and it turns into a really, really hard but pretty damn fun boss fight.
Probably my favorite boss fight. I love this boss fight.
One of those ones that absolutely fucking shredded me the first several times, and you're like, I don't know what they want from me here, and then you just kind of figure out like how to always keep moving and how to time up when you're moving even more than that, you know. So a good boss fight. The ending of this, after because you got to take her down. At the end of this, Caim is holding her dead body and a bunch of other angel-looking things that look just like what Fury Eye just turned into. They rise up from the sky, and they look really fucking pissed. And it's like, now they're just going to destroy everything because you killed one of them or something like that.
Yeah, like I think it's framed as like, okay, I did the thing and I killed my sister, and he's like kind of like morosely, you know, as much as you can read his emotions, like holding her dead body over like a cliffside. And as you peer out into the horizon, dozens on dozens of more Fury Eyes show up, and it does not look good. And then it ends.
And then it ends.
Awesome ending. It's just like, hey man, it's fucked. It's fucked. There's no better word to describe it. It's fucked.
Absolutely.
We're done. Completely done. It's over.
So that is ending B. Ending C is instead of Inuart getting to the seat of resurrection, you kill him before he gets there. He lies down next to Fury Eye's body and wishes to die, and his last words are, "Could this be happiness?" And I was like, that line is really hamming it up there.
It's hamming it up. It's also like, you know what, man?
Sure.
In
this world, yeah.
Hey, buddy, in this world, sure.
Yeah. There's a part of this ending where the dragons are out doing some shit. I think this is one I heard in the Grimbeard video, because I sure as hell didn't catch this, but the dragons eat mana off screen, like killer, like the dragons are going nuts in this ending. And your dragon, Angelus, decides it's time to break the pact and join the rest of the dragons. And it levels up into this like badass chaos form with like a skull, like
it's like
helmet
black and
shit.
skull looking. It's cool.
It's pretty cool. It tells Caim that he's burned too bright and he needs to die, which like, yeah, I get it. Caim needs to go, probably.
Caim can go.
But you have to have a boss fight against the dragon on foot. It's not good. It has a bunch of phases to it.
So it sucks because it's an on foot mission.
Boss fight. Yeah. The things you don't want to hear in Drakengard. I can deal with a 30-minute repetitive on foot mission, but a real boss fight, no thanks. It's not that hard, but it's not good.
It's just not engaging, you know.
Yeah. What's notable about this boss fight with the dragon is because the pact is severed, Caim gets his voice back in the boss fight.
Does he ever?
You would think that Caim would use this opportunity to like give us a window into his head. And I initially wrote that this was a huge missed opportunity because all he says in the boss fight is, "I am Caim." He says it a couple times. It's the only thing he says. And I was like, missed opportunity to give me a window into Caim's brain. And then throughout the course of this recording, I was like, that is what's in Caim's brain right now. He's a Pokemon. He doesn't have more to say.
Yeah, I follow the same thing where it's like Caim gets his voice back and you hear nothing other than him like assert himself. Like his greatest thought process is, I think, therefore I am.
Yeah,
And
yes.
even then, I still think it's kind of a missed opportunity because it's just a cheeseball line. I am
Yeah,
Kimes. It's
I
like
am Caim.
that doesn't work very well. Like you can read
Right.
it as working, but like I think it would have been better if he got his voice back and he still said fucking nothing.
Yeah, that would have been a good point. I think they needed to like show you that the
Mm.
pact was broken.
Yeah, they need to say something that like because it works in the sense that like I am Kaim is as simplistic a message of self actualization as you can get across, but
Yeah.
it also does sound very Pokemon ish.
Yeah.
So like I think I would like to believe that's what they were going for. It does not like you can read it in a way that works, but I think in the moment it does not land.
You can read it in a way that works. The voice delivery is not good.
No.
If that's the line, the delivery of it is not very effective.
In fairness, the voice actor for Kaim had like 5 lines in the game, so I don't think
Right.
that dude ever really got warmed up for the role.
Yeah. Probably just did all that shit in an afternoon and then was never heard from again.
No.
Um, I think it's a missed opportunity to like if he just like got his voice back and then just started rambling like complete fucking nonsense, I think that would have worked.
Hmm.
Maybe a slightly altered or better delivery of I am Kaim. Maybe change up the words a little bit, but have that same
Yeah.
message to be like, hey, he got his voice back, but there's not much happening up there anymore.
The
It's
light switch is on, but the bulb's still dim.
yes, exactly. But it is an interesting idea of like break the pact, show us what's going on in Kaim's brain, and that's what we get. So that's interesting. I like that. Even if it's again, it's a little messy, just like a lot of stuff in Drakengard. And then the end of this one is Caim destroys the seed of resurrection, and then you hear a bunch of dragons like crying, screaming outside, and this rumbling as if like things are being destroyed by the dragons. So it's like not good. Again, the state of the world, bad. And Kaim like kind of like smiles and turns and rushes out into battle. Like that's what Kaim is. That's all he's got is like, I'm gonna go fight. He's probably gonna die in, 10 seconds the second he gets outside, but that's what he's got.
Yeah, and I think this is like the weakest ending by a country mile.
Okay.
Because not only is like the actually I'm gonna break the pact kind of like just completely come out of left field in a way that is even more left field than the other stuff that just comes out of left field in this game.
Yeah.
Then it's also framed as like Angelus being like, ah, yes, it's a good thing you're strong enough to kill me. Like you must fight. That kind of like some a little anime bullshitty feeling
Mm,
with like,
mm,
ah, you must be strong enough to kill me, Kaim. And then the way that like the dragons, and I guess this is a read as well, but like the way that the destruction the dragons are about to bring is framed does not have the severe, oh my fucking god, we are done for, the way that the endless fury eyes showing up does.
yeah. Agreed. All that stuff happens off screen, so it's
Yeah.
like you're just like, I guess that's what's happening out there.
And I could grant them that like maybe the read is, well, Kaim's gonna go out there and fight and he might win
Mm,
because why not? And so like I guess there's that glimmer of not even hope, but like because I wouldn't call it hope, but it's just like the idea that he's gonna go fight and you don't know if it's fucked or not. The way that when the Fury Eyes show up, it's just it there's a knot in your stomach.
yeah. Yeah. Agreed. I also think that like the breaking of the pact happened really suddenly, and if you view this as branching stories where like had things gone slightly differently, they'd be on the path to ending A, where the dragon's going to sacrifice itself to save humanity. Things went slightly different, so now we're here, and it like breaks the pact really quickly. It's like it doesn't
Yeah.
really add up
It
very
it
well
just
to me.
so abrupt feeling.
Yeah, messy. Like again, a lot of this. So that's ending C. I like ending C because it pits the dragon versus Kaim and stuff like that. But I think it is probably like my least favorite of the ones that. No, it's my least favorite of any of the five. I can, even though I didn't do ending E, I can
Yeah.
still say
It,
that fucking
it's
rules in a cool
it's
way.
definitely the one that has the least impact when it's done.
I guess it all depends on like how much emotional weight did you place on like wanting things to be okay between Caim and the dragon, because making them fight each other could be a really emotional, like climactic thing. It just doesn't sound like it really was for either of us, probably because the way it was not set up super well
Yeah,
and just kind of started happening.
it wasn't set up well, and also the fact that it is very like anime battle, show me that you're stronger than me, it's a good thing you're stronger than me, like
Mm.
that kind of dulls any weird relationship thing that they might have going on, because then you just kind of wonder why you're here in the first place.
So that is ending C. Ending D, this is where shit gets real weird.
Yeah, buckle the fuck up.
Yeah. If you thought the ones before were out there, wait till you see ending D. And I encourage you.
Ending B is about to look like some child's play.
Yeah. I encourage you, if you're here as like a service, like you're not going to play Drakengard and you just want to hear about the endings, listen to us talk about it, but watch them on YouTube, because especially ending D and E are just fucking insane, especially D. So in ending D, it starts with Ciri killing Mana, who is his sister. Ciri's a good boy, and he I guess he figured out she's got to go because she's corrupted or something. So he kills her. And in doing so, there is something about her. I wrote down that she's the instrument of the gods. I do not know what that means. I don't know what I was thinking.
Load bearing in some way. I guess we'll just put it that way. She was a load bearing part of this whole contraption.
Yes.
To what degree? I don't think the lore masters might know, but like to some end, she was important and needed to stay alive.
And because she's dead, all order and reason in the world ends. They say, I think those are the words they use in the game. And giant babies descend from the sky into the city. And I cannot overstate, number one, how big they are. They're huge fucking babies, and how many of them there are. There are like thousands of them descending out of the sky.
Yeah, I don't have the knowledge to explain it, but like the death of Mana brings the mother. And so there's this gigantic kind of like ashen porcelain woman with a double whammy of pregnancy and inflation fetish sized belly.
Yeah.
And then these porcelain ashen looking babies start coming out, and they're called the grotesqueries, which I think is just the worst localization. That you could have done anything. The grotesqueries sucks. That sounds like some fucking Tim Burton shit. But it works because they're terrifying. This goo goo gaga Sears Tower flying babies show up. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, dude, all order and reason is gone. The babies are here. Yeah. And they're gonna kill us.
Uh-huh. And all order, and I was going to say, it's like the point where you got to stop asking, like, why is it babies? Just stop asking that question. All order and reason is gone. You know,
it's the babies because it's the mother.
Yeah.
Like that's the through line. And the mother is the mother of creation. Sure, I get babies, but like that's the only through line you get. Like, and there's nothing special looking about the babies. They are like bald ass fresh born babies.
Yes.
Again, terrifying looking. It's so effective, I think.
When you see them, you get like that shock factor of like, what the fuck is this? Terrifying. And then you see what happens with them in some of the cutscenes, and you're like, oh fuck, like this is even worse than I thought it was. So you do some fights with this is the worst on ground mission in the whole game, is in here when you're fighting these babies. There's a lot of them. They all have ranged attacks. And like I said earlier, if you're fighting more than two things that have ranged attacks, it's rough. So this sucks. But when you get through it, you get two cutscenes with your party members, Ariosh and three of them, with Ariosh, with Leonard, and with Ciri. So
Mhm.
Ariosh loses the 0.5% of brain that she had left, and just like she sees children, and that's like been her whole thing is like when you summon her in combat, she screams, "Where are my children?" Like that's what she's all about. So she sees these babies and she's like, you know what? It's time. She just like goes out and lets them rip her apart to shreds with their fucked up adult teeth in baby mouths. It's real
It's
weird.
it's like the second best scene in the game is because so what she says is like it's time for the ultimate feast or the final feast or something, because like
Yeah.
the thing we didn't say about Ariosh and soon we're gonna mention about Leonard, they're super fucked up. So like Ariosh is like a Kabbalistic baby eater as well. She's like she eats babies. That's why she's so fucking gung ho crazy about where the baby's at. It's because she's hungry.
Mm.
And like it's been a minute since I played this, and it's not explained very well in the game, and so like
I didn't even know that. So just like,
I do
yeah.
remember that coming up in the game, where I was like, oh yeah, she eats babies, because again, like it's said like in no uncertain terms that she's like the final feast. Like she looks at all these babies, and like it's like Golden Corral became the chocolate fountain to her.
Mm-hmm.
And so like she just like looks to the sky filled with babies and like opens her arms, and the way they descend on her to eat her is terrifying.
Yeah.
It's so cool looking.
Yeah.
They
They're
just
like, it's like a bunch of lions like ripping apart like a baby deer or some shit. Like they fucking, there's a
they
lot of them and
descend
they
on
just,
her.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, it's pretty crazy. I saw some people in like the guides that I was following were like, and this is where things get real stomach churning. And I'm like, I don't know about that, but it's like they rip her apart.
Mhm.
I don't think this game is like, there's only one thing that I think like could get that reaction, and it didn't because well, get your take on that. You remember the side mission where you fight the child soldiers?
Yeah.
That was the one part where I was like, oh, they're going here. It's pretty fucked up. They're going here. We'll see what they do with it.
Yeah, they're going there, but I don't think they do anything with it. So it never really landed with me. It's just like because it's just like, oh, they're child soldiers, and you kill them the same way, and they just sound a little different. And Vertilize in the background being like, oh, the heavens, they're sending children against us now. And it's like, oh, I don't fucking care. I'm Caim. I'm killing anything with a pulse, anyways. So
Yeah.
like, I think that lands really, really flat for me, just because like that's not a movement in the stakes of the game by then. I don't
Mm.
think that has anything. The only thing that would be stomach churning would be this is one thing that I like missed in the game, and so people have said this, and I'm like, I'm just gonna take their word for it. Leonard's a pedophile.
Um, I I remember hearing something like that, but I don't have any details, so I'm
Yeah,
don't really have anything to say about it.
and so like that's in the because like there's a and I don't disbelieve that, because at a certain point this game sounds like a really crappy setup to a joke where it's like a serial killer, a baby eater, and a pedophile all walk into a bar together.
Yeah.
Then you play Drakengard 1. Um, and so but like there's definitely something to Leonard having some eyes for Ciri. Like
Mm.
that comes across in the cutscenes and the text pretty easily. Once you're told like, hey, Leonard's a pedophile, like then it's like,
Mm.
yeah, maybe he doesn't want to be away from Ciri too much. As we will talk about now.
Yeah, right. The thing with that child soldier thing is like that kind of gets into like this weird territory that like some games will do this thing where it's like your character is like forced to do a thing that's like very morally terrible, and then people in the game are like, that's like the one time where like everyone is like, Caim, don't do this, Caim, don't do this. And Caim, of course, no emoting, no of course no inner monologue, no speech. He just like plows through, kills, cuts down all these child soldiers. And then it's like, it's one of those things where some people bring up in situations like, look at the game telling me that I'm a shitty person for what I'm doing in the game. And it's like, nah, man, Caim is a shitty person. Caim is doing this. I'm playing the game, I'm experiencing a story with a bad person for a protagonist. Like this is, I don't know why this like popped into my head, but like I forget what I was talking about recently, but it was like a game where it was like, do the shitty thing or turn the game off. Those are your choices. And it's like, people trying to put it on me as the player. Like, yes, I'm relishing the opportunity to charge in and kill these child soldiers. Where it's like, no, man, I'm playing as Caim. Caim's doing this. Like, Caim is not me. Caim is a character. I'm playing through his story. And that's why like that scene didn't really affect me either. Cause it's like, Caim's been so far gone this whole time. This isn't a turning point for Caim. It's just
Yeah.
like, it's expected of this at this point.
In a different game, it would be handled way more deftly. And so like it could be something, but like by this point in Drakengard, who the fuck cares that you're killing children? Like it's when everyone's like, no, Caim, don't kill children. It's like, what do you fucking care?
What do you think?
Have
Why,
you
why
looked-
would you think that Caim wouldn't? You know?
have you looked outside recently? Do you
Yeah.
know? Do you know where we are?
Yeah.
Like,
So, yeah, that's that side thing with the child soldier mission. That's like literally the only mission that I'm like, something's happening that we maybe should talk about in the spoiler section.
yeah, that's the
Other
only
than
one.
ending stuff. So ending D, we're back to this. So Ariosh allows the babies to the grotesqueries. I'm just going to keep calling them the babies.
Yeah, they're
to,
babies.
To rip her up. Leonard, this is the thing you were hinting at earlier. He like takes this opportunity. There's a point earlier in the game where he like failed. He was like going to kill himself, but he couldn't bring himself to do it. And the fairy made fun of him for not being able to. And that was like the source of his pact. He decides like, now's the time I'm going to sacrifice myself. This is the point where he's like, run. And everyone's like,
Where? To what? For what reason?
We haven't like visually described this ending. Like the sky is like black and red. Everything's on fire. Like there is no place to run. What are you going to go hide under that rubble? Like
It is like already super fucked outside.
Yeah.
You are in blood hell on Earth, and it's like a heavy forecast of babies raining from the sky. You're not running anywhere.
Exactly. Yeah. So he decides he has this like power, I guess, to detonate. I wasn't sure if he's detonating himself, or it sure looks like he crushes his fairy in his hand when he's doing this. I don't know if that's the detonation.
Yeah, I don't get it
really.
fully, but like it's just kind of like thematic of like, okay, well now I'm gonna kill myself, and the fairy's also caught off guard by it because I think the last thing she's like, what, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Another great scene because it's like you see the baby eat him in a way that you don't with Ariosh. Like a singular baby chomps Leonard, and it again
Just
terrifying.
Yeah.
And then he self-destructs and takes out a bunch of babies.
Yeah.
To maybe no point whatsoever.
Right. It's like his blast, like it's, give him credit. It's a big explosion, but it's like, okay, he took out a couple hundred babies. There's thousands more right around the corner, you know? So he's gone. And then Ciri hatches this plan where he's going to break his pact, which will release the great time. That's what he says. Because this, the mother, the queen beast that I wrote in the notes, the mother that's like laying down on its back, super fucking pregnant, is bringing about the end to this world. So he's going to release time, which I think is going to freeze time and just stop the destruction. Is it going to actually fix anything? We're not sure.
Yeah, there's a little parable. That's probably not the right word. There's a short story that he was told as a kid about like the hero who unfreezes time to save the day. Like the little hero, I think is his.
Yes.
And so that's kind of his like motivation for the plan is like, oh, the story of the little hero. The little hero comes back from being frozen in time to save the day. And it's like, that's his plan. And you need to do a air boss fight against a million babies so you can get Ciri to the mother.
Yeah. You have this thing where it's like, I don't know that you actually have to fight the babies, but you have to get through like this minefield of babies that are all shooting lasers at you, and it's really fucking difficult. And then you get you fly on the dragon with Caim and Ciri, and you get to the mother, and it's like a really awesome cutscene where it like goes into that full rendered cutscene, and like they like hit the brakes and launch Ciri into the air like straight at the mother thing. And that's where he breaks his pact and freezes down time. The dragon and Caim are killed by babies, after they do this. So it's all hinging on this. And the way it kind of plays out is he activates whatever this is. The whole world goes dark. And then, like, at the very end of this ending, a new light shines in the darkness. So you're like, someone unfroze time later on, but we have no idea what it is, how it went, nothing like that.
Yeah,
And
like
again, it's one of those endings where it's like, all right, you did this thing that like saved things for the time being, but you better hope that whoever unfreezes time is way better than any of us, you know?
yeah, it very like we saved the city, Patrick. Like it's a good ending, I suppose, insofar that you stopped the mother delivering the apocalypse, I guess. But like, I think like the world ends with time frozen. Like,
Yeah.
I think that is the like reality that now exists is a frozen moment in time or something. Like it's an ending that's good, sure, but like
Yeah.
how backhanded and like non-congratulatory of an ending.
Right.
Which
You want a
again is
good ending?
why it rocks.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I love endings where it's like, okay, you want a good ending? Here, fucking take one that's like,
Yeah.
it's good on paper. Like, it's technically good. The world didn't end. But yeah, good luck to whoever unfreezes time, or maybe no one ever does. We'll see. So I thought the credits music for this was interesting. It's not the normal Drakengard stuff. It's all like chimes and percussion, like very biblical. Like I thought it was like maybe that light at the end signaled the birth of a new universe or something
Mhm.
like that at the end of all this. So yeah, that's your other possible good ending. And then the last one, ending E, which
Oh,
is,
baby.
oh, baby. Yeah. Um, Instead of sending Ciri to stop time and do that stuff, Caim leaves him behind and dives with the dragon into the belly of the beast. And there's a big white light, and they go through the white light into a different dimension, which turns out to be real life Tokyo. It's in black and white. The visuals of this is like really, really cool.
It's so well done because like when they dive bomb into the mother beast thing, it just cuts to like a grayscale city and you see a portal open up and like the crowning head of the mother beast comes out of the portal
Mm-hmm.
and it's alien scene compared to everything else. And like Caim and Angelus are there. And I think Angelus says like, where are we? Smash cut to black and a white text just says Tokyo.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so well done.
It's very cool. This game, like we said, like for these like cinematics, they have like real chops in making these cutscenes really, really cool.
Yeah. Actually,
So
we should back
yeah,
up because we need to talk about why, like, how you even get to ending E, because that's the big thing.
right. Collect all the weapons, and you got to do all the mission stories to get ending D. You have to do all the mission stories. But is it just the weapons?
It's just the weapons,
Yeah,
which, as
which
we
I did
mentioned,
not do.
I did that.
Okay,
And it
tell me
is,
about that.
that is the grind because, like,
Yeah.
so, like, there's 65 weapons in this game, and the unlock conditions for them are sometimes understandable, sometimes out of the way, and sometimes completely non like parsable.
Yeah.
Where there's some where it's like be in this map for 20 minutes and then the weapon will unlock
Mm,
and you can go find it. And this is another thing where people are like, "Oh, it's about wasting your time, la 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 la, wasting your time." And I am again going to push back on this because this is another like genre savvy thing. This feels so Tower of Druaga coded.
okay.
Um, for those who don't know, Tower of Druaga, a super duper 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 influential Japanese arcade game. It's like a maze game, kind of from like the Pac-Man age. there's like 60 levels or something, 80 levels. And to beat the game, you have to get through all 80 levels, but also there's a secret item on every level that you need to get the actual ending of the game. And so because the secrets to get those items are so obscured, back in the 80s, there would be a collaborative effort from
Yeah.
arcade goers to find these secrets and write them down on notepads so that together the community could find out how to actually beat Tower Duraga. And this
Hmm.
became like part and parcel to video game design for the next decade at least, and then still continued onward to games like Dark Souls. But like,
Hmm.
if you've ever played a fucking Famicom game with a million secrets and you're like, how is anyone supposed to know these secrets? Tower Duraga.
Yeah.
Super, super, super influential. So I think this is in step with that.
Yeah, definitely feels like it, where it's like you need several people that are just trying shit and hey, oh shit, this weapon popped up. Let me try and figure out what I did to get it to pop up and share it with people. Um, I did the weapon grind in Near Replicant. I didn't do it here, partly because Near Replicant's way more fun to play than Drakengard, even with its warts. And then the other part was I think I had talked to you at that point where you had told me that like you gave off on the boss fight, and I was like, you know what? Let's just
In
watch it.
general, it's not worth it. In
Yeah.
general, everyone's going to tell you it's not worth it. I did it because I actually liked the play of this game and I thought it'd be fun to get all the weapons and I was going to try and beat this game as
Yeah.
God intended. And the weapon part was not the hard part.
Right. Yep. I will say in that position of like, if you are in that collaborative effort to like uncover all this stuff and then you finally get all the weapons and you get to experience what this ending E is, then I can imagine that being really fucking cool and rewarding. We're just like a couple levels like separated from that now.
Mhm.
And so
We,
it's like,
we
I'll
can't
follow the
exist
walkthrough.
in that time anymore.
Yeah.
We
Right.
simply can't.
So, you are in black and white Tokyo. You, Caim, the dragon, and then the mother have all come down into the city. The mother like crashes down into the city, and it's got this weird pose where it's like sitting up, its head is back, and its tongue is hanging out of its mouth. And it starts to sing or something like that. And you it's a rhythm game boss fight that you do against this thing. As it sings out, these white and black rings come out, and your dragon attack, I guess, gets turned into. As I watch this, I don't know what it's like in play. Does it turn into like two buttons for white and
Yeah,
black?
it's a 2-button rhythm game. There's a white
Okay.
attack and a black attack. She sings out white and black rings, and you need to hit white and black rings back at her to
Yeah.
destroy them.
And can you get hit at all, or is it one hit death?
If you get hit, you are in recovery for a while, but you can recover.
Okay.
Except it doesn't matter.
Because toward the end, when it gets really fucking insane, if you get hit, it's just like, well,
It's over.
yeah, it's over. So
Yeah.
I watched this, and I think it has like it's not like a thing where you're doing damage to it. It's like you need to survive for like what, 2 minutes, 3 minutes?
2 minutes and 30 seconds or so, because
Yeah,
the little kill counter in the corner becomes a countdown timer from like 2
right.
minutes and 30 seconds. And so
And
you need to survive the song.
yes, and I would say from what I watched, for about a minute 30 of it, it seems very reasonable. It seems almost like you'd be like, this is kind of neat. I'm having a good time with this. And then it gets harder and harder and harder. And then I would say from the 30-second mark to the 10-second mark, it's just fucking insane. And
Yes.
like, I was watching the Grimbeard video. The way that they did it is they would pause it and be like, okay, white, white, black, white, black, white, black, 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 and then do that. And then once the last input for that was out, they'd pause it again and be like, okay, black, 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 white, black, and then so on and so on. And that's how they did it. Or just fucking memorize it, I guess.
Yeah. It's for like, I play rhythm games like pretty consistently. I'm not amazing at them, but like, you put me in front of a halfway decent sound voltex chart, I could probably sight read it with a
Mhm.
level of certainty. The first 2 minutes of this are perfectly doable. on your first try, and then it goes black, black, black. And it vomits notes at you, and you can't.
Yeah.
There's no way to sight read them. Like it is not possible. It's like white black white black black white 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 white. It is frenetic, and it is bordering on impossible. It is the thing that like stops people from being able to beat this game,
Yeah.
because you have to do the pause trick, which I tried a couple times. I still beefed it because there's so many notes happening that like
Yeah.
if you know that the vomit is about to start, and you like start your white blacks, you can maybe survive one, but you
Mhm.
really only have one shot at this. And if once you lose, you gotta wait 2 minutes to get
Yep.
to that again.
Mhm.
It's murderous. It kills the soul. So you either need to have it memorized ahead of time, or like write it down and try and sight read your notes, or you need to like pause buffer the rhythm game and try and do it that way. It is so close to impossible. You can do it, but like there's a reason I gave up. Was just like I just didn't have it in me. If you wait past the credits on my gaming in the 2025 video, I sometimes do like an after the credits gag. The after the credits gag for that video was me attempting that part and then losing and then just going fuck.
Yeah,
Uh,
it looks just insane. And like the visual of it's cool as like the dragon is circling around and
so cool. Oh my god.
like even like the notes, like the bars and the things, like the visual design of those are really cool. It just watching it, I'm like, oh man, I don't know. Like I guess you just dedicate your life to this for a couple weeks or
Yeah,
longer. I don't know.
you have to dedicate real tangible time to pull this off. This is not
Yeah.
something that you can like cheese out. Um, in the same way I mentioned my friend who did the Drakengard 3 was like walling her off for a while. There's something very similar happens in Drakengard 3 where it took her a discernible amount of real human life effort to get that done.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is, the first time this happens, it's just coming out of the cutscene. The game gives you enough grace to go back to the menu and try just the song battle again. But when you do missions in this game, there's usually a little description of what's happening in the story, as if it
Mhm.
fucking matters. But the description for this is in all caps with a period after every word. It just says, "I hear a song."
Oh no.
It's just like that's it. It's iconic to this game. She's singing the song that is going to end the world, and you need to battle back the song that ends the world.
Yeah. And I guess like when you put it that way, it should be difficult, but tune it down maybe just a little bit. Make it
I think it's got to be impossible. And it's just one of those things where like it wouldn't be as famous as it is if it was more doable.
that's probably true. So if you do it or if you watch it on YouTube, what happens is
If you watch it on YouTube.
yes. um, what happens is you do beat back the song and then the mother starts to crumble and like kind of disintegrates into dust and like crumbles across the city and stuff like that. More on that in a second, but I do just want to note what happens to Caim and the dragon after you do this. The Japanese military sends fighter jets out and they just shoot the fucking dragon and Caim out of the sky. And that's the end for them.
It's so unceremonious because
Yeah.
like the shot is like Caim and the dragon you know like sitting back watching, and then two missiles just come off screen and blow them up.
Yeah.
That's it. Like there's no fanfare to it. They just die.
Yep.
Like
And then
they
one
have,
of the
they have
fighter pilots is just like, yep, target,
target eliminated.
yep, that's it. And then they just turn around and go home. And that's the end for them.
It,
I love that so much.
it's such a good ending. There's a read on it, which is like this was supposed to be in concert with the Ace Combat series, and so the Ace Combat series, which is infinitely more successful and better than these games, just it just blows Drakengard out of the water.
Yep.
It's just I can't state enough how unceremonious it is seeing Caim and Angelus just get blown up by 2 heat seeker missiles.
Yeah, absolutely. That just reminded me. If you're up for doing a podcast about an Ace Combat game sometime, I fucking love that series.
I've only played air combat, but I want to get through all of them. I will hit you up soon.
We'll revisit that someday. Yeah, Caim and the dragon get shot out of the sky. The last thing to note is that this is the ending that canonically, maybe retconned, but canonically connects to the Nier series. So the setup for Nier is that there is a sickness called white chlorination syndrome that wiped out most of the people, and we'll kind of leave it there. But the way it connects is this like disintegrating mother figure and like the dust that it spreads around. That is the source of the white chlorination syndrome, from what I could tell. So there's your connection between ending E of Drakengard with Nier.
Yeah, it's so cool because for probably what, like less than a decade, but like a very long time, this was just like the bonus ending to Nier,
Yeah.
basically. And then, or that bonus ending to Drakengard, and then Nier comes out, and it's like, and over time at the very end or something, it's revealed like this is the connective tissue.
Yeah.
And debatably, ending E is the good one because you somehow got the mother creature out of your world, and you somehow got her into the real world, and you somehow defeated her, even if you died in the process. And you know what? However many years later, nope, it's
Nope.
still fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you saved your world, you fucked ours.
But
You
it's like
completely fucked ours.
kind of like we've been talking about too. Yeah, you got the mother out of your world. It's still on fire and all of that stuff. Like that world is fucked. And yeah, now this other world, which is our real world, is also fucked down the timeline into Nier. So there we go. Um, it's it's neat. I think it's neat to see this and be like, okay, that's what it set up, and oddly like helped me understand a little bit more of the story of Nier, because when I played Nier Replicant, I did not look up what happens in this ending. I just knew it was one of the alternate endings from Drakengard. So it is kind of neat to see. Um, and that is Drakengard.
That's Drakengard.
those those endings are a lot of fun to just go through and be like, can you believe that like this is it's the cool thing about art. Sometimes you just do this and be like, can you believe someone had these 5 ideas for the endings to this fucking game? They're so different, and they're all like, even if like there's some of them that are like a little bit messier or whatever, but like they're all really fucking cool, I think. And they all suck in their own unique way. And I love that. So it's been fun going through these endings a little bit, talking about them. And just generally, this has been a really fun episode. So thank you for giving me the time.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah. Giving me the attention. I knew that you would be a person who would like take Drakengard seriously and not just be like, you know what, it fucking sucks. It sucks to play. I hate this game. It's why I invited you specifically for this episode. So I knew it would happen, but I appreciate you, giving Drakengard the benefit of the doubt in a lot of these cases, and just being like, no, what are they actually trying here? Did they pull it off? Did they? I feel like they missed sometimes, but generally, I think they pulled off what they're doing.
They got to the finish line. They
Yeah.
absolutely got to the finish line with this game. And I think
Boy, did they get to the finish line.
yeah, historically, it's been shown that this was some level of good enough success because
Yeah.
it has its own series and it has a very, very popular sister series. And then it had a game that was so unbelievably good and financially savvy and culturally defining. And then Square Enix never followed up on it. And it's just amazing how Square Enix can continuously drop the ball. Love that company.
Yeah, that would be another
Hey man,
branching path for this discussion.
it's only been 9 years since Automata. Have you
Yeah.
thought about that?
I can tell you we probably have another stage play that is canon to the events of that game, and
Buddy,
another mobile game.
I take a stage play at this point. Give
So,
me an audio drama CD. I'll
oh
take
yeah.
it.
Well, we got the anime. I think they're bringing that back. So we're getting stuff, but it's like it's not the stuff that Like, you want a game, we'll give you a stage play. It's only happening in Tokyo for one night, and it's canon.
How do you capitalize on one of the biggest successes your company's seen within that era? Some spin-offs in mobile games.
Yeah.
And I guess putting 2B in every fighting game you can find her in.
Yes, exactly. So, Jay, once again, thank you, man. This has been a lot of fun going through Drakengard.
I was blessed.
Yes, thank you. At the end, I'll remind everyone, please check down in the show notes for links to Jay's stuff. You can follow him on socials. You can check out the YouTube channel, and you'll find some good stuff, good videos worth your time. And if you're here at the end, as always, you're my hero. Thank you for being here, and tune in next week for the next game to come out of the backlog.
Hey, you there! This is Nomad speaking. If you love retro video games and you're itching for some nostalgia, check out the Retro Wildlands podcast. In each episode, I'll use game music and sound to pull you into the gaming experience while I share my own thoughts and maybe a few memories. It's a great way to relive one of your favorite games or learn about a new one. Check out the Retro Wildlands podcast at superpodnetwork.com or wherever you listen to your podcast.
Hello there, I'm Alex, co-host of the Low 5 Gaming Podcast. If you ever lost a weekend to Balatro, spent more time in Night City than you planned, or blown into a cartridge and hope for the best, we're probably already talking about the same games. My brother Luke and I do real conversations about the games worth your time, and every once in a while, we sit down with the developers actually making them. Now, Luke's not here for this promo, which means I get to say that even with all those hours he's put into Mario Golf, I'm still the better player. You know where to find me, bro. And you can find us at low5gaming.com or wherever you get your podcasts.